You know, the longer I play them, less we have to talk about Elimination Chamber.
Oh, well, keep going.
All right, I think I've done enough.
Go, baby, go.
We are back. Hello again, friends, and you are our friends. Welcome back to another edition of Jim Cornette's Drive Thru right here on another fine day. It's cold out. I'm yelling again. Things happen. I'm your host, the great Brian Last, and here he is, the star of the show, the man who said anyone who comes out of a box is over, Mr. Over, Jim Cornette.
Oh, he's over. The whole thing's over. We can use that word just in a possibly a different fashion. First of all, as to the organistic tendencies that you just showed, were you buffering? Because it was like there was skips or whatever in the middle where there should be notes. Yeah. It was sort of like I was only getting the half of it. I really didn't know. I was thinking it was something with me. Maybe it's my antihistamine.
I was leaving space. I was leaving space for the bass and guitar parts.
Oh, you were letting it breathe.
Yeah.
Well, see that a lot of the great musicians, it's not the notes they play, it's the notes they don't play.
Well, thank you.
And I think that you are so good. The better you are, the fewer notes you play.
Now, wait a minute. That doesn't sound as nice as it did a second ago, but...
Well, you can look around in it, dig around in it later on, play it back and wallow in it. But we are here, and we're going to talk about the box. Gee, Pete, I don't even want to get into it. Right? If I only had time. We'll get into that later. But Brian, I'm hurting. I told you I'm leaning over here in the chair, trying to get my back and my hip. I sound like Ron Wright now. I need the knee implants and the hip implants. I did a lot of physical labor over the past couple of days. I'll have you know, I literally 500 pounds of stuff, not all at the same time, but in multiple increments, up 2 flights of stairs. I've not shared this with the listeners over the last few weeks, but during that cold snap we had, you know this, something else snapped, the spring on my garage door, which is now totally inoperable. And they're 20 years old. I'm getting new garage doors. But in the meantime, if I'm going to be doing this, there's holes in the ceiling. The cable guy poked a hole in the ceiling. There's places where they wired. The electrician's got to come, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to have some drywall work done. And so I took a lot of stuff out of the big garage closet that I've had up there since before I had the big storage area fixed up in my attic a couple of years ago, where I can get more stuff in there. And I've come to the realization, Brian, that I have more stuff in my house than anybody in the United States of America. I think that's a safe statement to make. I'm not saying I have more money or more valuable stuff or a bigger house. I'm saying that I have more things. I have books and pieces of paper and items and objects and furniture and pictures and mementos and bric-a-brac. There are more things in my house than anybody else's house in the goddamn country. I think I'm pretty confident of that. There's no way of proving this unless somebody wants to go door to door and start counting. But I'm constantly trying to take stuff from one part of my house to the other. I can see you have a great amount of sympathy for me with this problem.
I didn't know what you want me to do. You want me to jump in and say, no, that is not right. There is a challenger to
well, no, you can jump in
pack rat status here.
You can jump in and say, here, I'll help you. Send me a bunch of stuff.
No, well, I mean, yeah, that's probably what I should have said. Yeah.
If you were a true friend,
send me 3 tons of stuff and I will look through it.
Well, there's a lot of gross tonnage around here. But anyway, part of this is tying into what I've been working on. One of the things I've been working on with Hotchkiss Featherbottom is I got too much stuff. We've been going through the files, reading old paperwork. I'm trying to organize. I've got the OCD. I'm trying to get a handle on all this stuff. And I finally, along with Hotchkiss, we are preparing for Cornette's Collectibles at JimCornette.com. Did you see that Hulk Hogan's boots just sold for $1 million? $1 million.
Over $1 million.
Over $1 million. Well, $1 million and fucking 50 or 60 grand. What the fuck is that? But nevertheless, I am following in this tradition. This is something that I've been planning for quite some time. Although you don't need $1 million. My ring-worn and ring-used items, because I've got all this stuff, and this is a thing, people love stuff like this. The ring-worn clothing and apparatus, and I've had this stuff cleaned and set out for some time, wanting to do something with it, because I don't want to just throw it away. People would like to have these things. But I hadn't had time to deal with it. Now Hotchkiss and I have. And so on, I would say, it's the first part of March. By March-ish, 20-ish, the 20th or so of March, we will have some listings up at JimCornette.com of the stuff that I have found to put up for sale to the Cult of Cornette members. And then the sale is going to start on Saturday, April 4th at noon, because that way this is all one-of-a-kind stuff by the nature of it. So instead of everybody slamming the fucking website, going on sale and trying to find out what they want and looking at all this different shit, you'll have a couple weeks to look at it and spot anything you might like, and then you know where to go when the sale starts. We feel that's the fairest way to do it. But I was all proud of myself because I thought, well, this will be nice. I can, because there's like shirts I've worn, and jackets and pants, suits, even a pair of my shoes, a couple of old pair of glasses, my WWF glasses are among these, and rackets. The last like 3 or 4 rackets I've got that I've hit people over the head with, things like that, right? But I thought, well, I'll make it nice. I'll put up include with each of these items a handwritten letter saying this is really a shirt that I've, got thrown over the top rope in, or whatever the fuck, And I said, I'll make it real nice. And guess who is doing the same thing that I just saw like 2 days ago? Somebody put it up on fucking Twitter or whatever.
I don't know.
Mercedes Moon. She is actually, but here was what she said.
Her wigs?
Well, I don't know if it may be included. I'm not sure. I'm sure she's bursting at the seams. I'm tearing my hair out trying to get some space over here. But the way that it was phrased was, these custom-made, one-of-a-kind pieces have been along with me on my journey and have been an important part of my evolution as a superstar. And now I want to give my fans the opportunity to have a piece of me. And I will give a handwritten letter with each one of these things saying, I'm like, she stole my idea. But here's the big difference, ladies and gentlemen. This is not going to be custom-made, one-of-a-kind items that helped me on my journey through professional wrestling to the evolution of the person I've become and cost thousands of dollars. This is going to be shit that I've sweated and bumped around in and worn on TV for hundreds of dollars. And there might even be a few things that clock in under that. So I just want to get it. Brian, have I drawn a line of demarcation?
Well, I mean, I understand why you don't want any comparison between Monet and Cornet, but why would you sell it cheaper than market value?
Well, no, in all honesty, now, this is not my WrestleMania 10 outfit, which is up on the office wall, or some of the more identifiable things that I might have worn on big shows. These are clothing that I wore on various TVs, Midnight Express reunions, as an announcer, as an authority figure. I've narrowed it down into eras because obviously I wasn't frivolous. I actually wore clothing more than once. And I have multiple items of some things that are a little cheaper. And then there's a few things I don't want to get into right now that are a little more special. that might reach up there in the price category, but I don't want to blow everybody's fucking opportunity right now to hear all of these things. They're going to be able to see it on JimCornette.com. But once again, part of it is I want some fucking space. I need to move some things in. I need to move some things out. But I'll tell you one thing we're not going to do. Cloth is not a good writing surface, Brian, and I can autograph most of these things, but there'll not be these goddamn long-winded dedications. That's where the letter comes in to document these things. But because people want me to write your favorite promo you cut on Paul Heyman in 1988 in the waistband of these pants. And I'm like, what the fuck? But anyway, more to come on that. But keep watching the skies and or JimCornette.com. And all the fine merchandise that we always have is there right now, because right now is part of Always, and you can get it, and it's still inexpensive. You're always telling me to raise my prices. I'm a man of the people. I want to appeal to the people, and make this stuff affordable for the community of the cult of Cornette, the cockok.
Do you still have any of your flannel shirts from when you were a photographer?
You know, I have like a couple of the belts that I wore with my 1970s belt buckle. I'm not talking about championship belts. I'm talking belts keep your pants up.
He really stood out at ringside, folks, taking photos wearing a championship belt.
No, but I have a couple of because of the custom, the nice, not custom, but gourmet, the fancy belt buckles that you had on belts when I actually wore blue jeans 50 years ago or whatever. And I don't know if I have any of my photographer clothing or not. But one of these days I might sell the actual camera that I use to create all those magic moments. And more. And I'll tell you something else, boy howdy. Hotchkiss Featherbottom is turned into a photographic genius. I'm going to send you some samples here pretty soon. He keeps sending me shit that's so high resolution on my negative transfers that you got to download it and do this and do that because I'm an amateur. So he's bringing me over what do they call it? Drive, baby, drive. But these negative transfers that he is in the midst of are just incredible. And there'll be more stuff on the photography front by summertime, I bet you.
At JimCornette.com.
That's what I've been doing. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. What have you been doing?
Man, every day I'm doing all sorts of shit. What are you talking about?
Well, quit doing shit and start doing fun stuff.
I didn't say it wasn't fun, but maybe not as much fun as buying Jim's 1989 girdle or whatever is going to be there.
Hey,
at JimCornette.com.
You know what I wish I had saved was my goddamn bulletproof vest.
How did you not save that?
Because when I was moving, I'm pretty sure from Tennessee to Connecticut, I said, well, it stunk for one thing. And it was they have kind of a mesh line, not a mesh, but a lighter material lining around the stuff. And that was all torn. And I said, I'm never going to need this again. We don't have heat anymore. And I was trying to just get rid of, and I mean, it was an ugly looking thing just to sit there, but I never dreamed 30 years later, people would have bought my autographed bulletproof vest from Mid-South Wrestling.
When was the last time you actually used it? Was it in Mid-South or did you use it after that?
There was a couple times in the Crockett territory, I believe, that I might have surreptitiously slipped it on just in case, especially in the summer of Baby Doll. We had that issue and the
punches were like bullets.
No, I'm not talking about from her. I mean, because we got the death threats for us attacking Baby Doll and etc. But so at that time, that was when I was moving. It was 1996. I hadn't used it in 10 years. I mean, a case could be made. I should have just made it standard fucking costuming because you never knew when something was going to happen. But I only went to that extreme for the Tulsas and the bad places of the world, and sometimes in Little Rock.
All right, well, once again, ring-worn Jim Cornette, not even collectibles, used cloth at JimCornette.com.
Yeah. It's not just cloth, my glasses. I've got 3 sets of glasses from my various eyeglasses, that is, from my various stages of my career. You could see the world through Jim Cornette's eyes. I got my tuxedo shoes because I'm never going to wear a fucking tuxedo again. That I indicted or inducted the Rock and Roll Express in the Hall of Fame in 2017. Stuff like that people might like that I'm realistically not ever going to wear again or use again.
We don't have the dummies for those items in the Jim Cornette Hall of Fame just yet, so we should just stick with the big things.
Yes, but there's all kinds of stuff like that.
All right.
What'd you do with your first bulletproof vest?
I've never had one. I wish you had kept it. That sounds like such a cool item to, even if you weren't going to use it again, you show people all sorts of shit when they come to your house. This is my bulletproof vest.
Again, this was 30 years ago, and I would have obviously programs and pictures and memorabilia like that, but I wasn't at the point where I was thinking about my ring-worn stuff or even the boys' ring-worn stuff. I had a pair of Flair's boots he left in my trunk one time, and he said, just keep them. And I gave them to Cat Collins to wear on Halloween one year, like 35 years ago. And then he got a job at a different radio station, and I didn't see him for a while. I never thought to get him back. But just shit like that, I had Tully Blanchard's jackets. I wish I still had some of those, but I wore those into the ground. Because when Tully had bought a whole new wardrobe, and we were in Charlotte, and we were about the same size then, believe it or not, as when I was on my way up past 220 or so. But he said, hey, Corda, he had those old ultra suede jackets that had gone out of style, but they were in a few different colors. I said, yeah, and I bought them secondhand from him, but it said made for Tully Blanchard on the lining inside. But I never thought, that would have been a interesting piece, but they all got skinned up and bled on.
Once again, JimCornette.com.
Well, I'm still not doing a plug for my stuff now. We're just talking. If you lead the conversation a different goddamn direction if you want to.
Well, I have some breaking news.
About it.
I was trying to get some news.
All the precious items that I'm going to be letting go of for fire sale prices just to get some more room in the house.
All right, the Jim Cornette fire sale once again will be plugged right here at JimCornette.com.
Yes. None of it will be worn by Mercedes Moon.
But again, you can read more about this in Cornet Mag when we put that up on the website. Jim, I have some news here that's, as we are recording, coming out. I have an article from Post Wrestling by John Pollock. Jake Hager signs with Power Slap. Will debut at a show in Las Vegas next month. Jake Hager is venturing away from professional wrestling and has signed an agreement with Power Slap.
Power Slap!
Hager spoke with TMZ's Inside the Ring and will debut for the group on April 17th at a show in Las Vegas during WrestleMania weekend. Hager said he will compete in the heavyweight division. He will compete in the heavyweight division.
Unless he's been on chemotherapy for the last year, I would assume he'd be in the heavyweight division.
And has signed on for 6 appearances with Power Slap.
Six. He signed on for 6 concussion. He's got a 6 concussion contract. That ought to be the way they phrase that. Instead of he's got a 6-fight contract, he's got a 6 concussion contract with us.
He was initially contacted by, and I might have even tried with his last name, Nick Savetkovich, a.k.a. Sin Bodhi, about joining Power Slap.
Oh, what is he doing?
That was a wrestler, right?
Yes. Is he now a power slapper?
The Oklahoma native was...
Or is he booking for Power? How do you get the job as booker for, here, you, come up here, slap the shit out of that guy. Done. Lunch.
Yeah, Sin Bodhi is the power slap, but Jamie Dundee was the Jerry Springer. The Oklahoma native was an NCAA Division I All-American and recruited to WWE after graduating. He was a part of WWE for 11 years, including a run as World Heavyweight Champion in 2010 and winning Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 26. He joined AEW when the company launched Dynamite in October 2019 as a member of Chris Jericho's Inner Circle, and his contract expired in 2024. Hager has a 3-0 with 1 no contest record in MMA while fighting for Bellator from 2019 to 2020. So that's the biggest signing we've heard of yet for Power Slap. What are your thoughts on this?
He can't stand a lot more concussions, I don't believe, considering the fucking state of his goddamn mental acuity at this point. I don't know where to start, so I'll start here. He is a legitimate athlete. He does have legitimate athletic credentials. But what does that matter? In this, I guess if you want to, is he in a position where he wants to or has to accept even tens of thousands of dollars or whatever these people get paid to stand there and let somebody give him brain damage on purpose? I feel bad if that's the case. If it's another one he's got, well, I'm tough. Well, good. Then step right up and let some fat dipshit from Detroit just knock the fuck out of you and scramble your brain cells. It can happen to anybody because that's what I was saying. He's a legitimate athlete. There's no athleticism or sports talent or training or anything for this. It's a stupid thing where people don't want to be big badasses or tough or in desperate need of money for a goddamn new kidney. I don't know, a uterus for the wife, whatever the fuck. Just stand there and let other stupid people unguardedly smack them in the fucking face and knock them out if they can. And it's funny because I didn't know you were going to bring that up, but I've just seen, remember that Hollywood Haley J character from the OVW documentary, the little bouncy girl wrestler?
I remember hearing about her, but I never saw her, I don't think.
Well, I think we talked about it when we talked about the show, but at the same time, we've had other things on our mind. She just was in some form of power slap. I don't know if it was the official power slap or some outlaw power slap, but everybody was retweeting it. She comes out doing her wrestling thing. She's flipping everybody off and giving them the finger and fucking shaking her ass and doing all this stuff and just making a fool out of herself. And they're calling her a professional wrestler. They even lined her up with Booker T. Yeah, she trains with Booker T. I guess that's where she is now. But she was acting like a complete idiot. And then this other girl comes in and she actually kind of stone-faced like Marina Schaefer, but she looks in pretty good shape and she's got a tan and she's got some abs and she just walks out there just not putting any of this over. And old Hollywood slapped her and, she, okay. And then she slapped Hollywood and knocked her. I've never seen a knockout like this. She slapped her where Hollywood immediately bent over and headbutted the fucking table. Boom.
Ooh.
And then fell backwards. And got up and didn't know whether to wind her ass or scratch her watch. And then they called it. So it was the classic example of the big entrance and jump off the rope and break your leg. She made that whole big fucking production and was put out the first time anybody touched her. But the point is, Jake Hager, yeah,
she's a young girl. That's sad. That's sad to hear.
Well, yeah, but I got more sympathy for people who were born with congenital defects and somebody that stands there and says, go ahead, hit me as hard as you can. I'll wait. Fuck you. that, again, boxers get hit hard. Mixed martial artists get hit hard. Pro wrestlers get hit hard, even if not intentionally. But at least in each case, you are trying theoretically to prevent it. That you are exhibiting some talent and skill and training in whatever you're doing, whether it's to do it and make it look real in wrestling, or to do it to the other person, but not let them do unto you in boxing or MMA. And there's a high level of skill involved at the top, and people still get fucking brain damage, much less a bunch of ham-handed, fucking micro-brained goofs from a variety of walks of life just standing up there and fucking wailing on each other. It's idiocy. So I wish him well.
Well, big signing for Power Slap. They did a feature on Dana White on CBS Sunday Morning this past week because they got the Paramount deal, so it's now all in the family. And it was a puff piece, as you would expect. Towards the end, they went to Power Slap. And I had forgotten all about it. It's been around a few years now. You never hear anyone talk about it. You don't know any stars of Power Slap. It hasn't led to anyone becoming a breakout mainstream personality. I forgot it existed. And you're watching it and you're like, yeah, this is kind of embarrassing. And Dana White's trying to defend it. It's the sport of the future or whatever the hell he says. They showed the clip of him slapping his wife on there too. And he I shouldn't say he defended it. He admitted it was wrong and just, justified it. But you forget about Power Slap. And this is a big signing. And again, if they're doing a show WrestleMania weekend, you wonder if this starts opening the door, and it's not a good one, for wrestlers who don't have too many high-paying opportunities in the business anymore to do something like this. Which
that would be excellent for many of the boys who've been in the business for 20 years or more to now, step into intentional brain damage. But you say a Power Slap big show. What is a big show? Now, okay, Dana White, UFC, TKO, he's a multimillionaire. He rolls with the big boys. He's got a lot of contacts. I'm sure they get sponsors. I'm sure they have, opulent venues that they slap each other in. But does anybody actually pay to watch it and or show up, even if it's complimentary in a casino somewhere, to watch the thing? Or is it just content for television streaming, Dana's giggles, whatever the fuck? Do we know what kind of crowds they slap into the building?
We don't, because I don't even know where it airs. I don't know if it's a streaming thing. I don't know if they have any partners that actually...
Well, God, type in Power Slap right now and see what their official website says about where we ought to watch this thing. And just what they're on about.
I almost spelled it with a CH. I hope Rocky Cornette gets his hands on you one of these days.
No, it's SCH. And let's see if there's a video or a picture or something. Are they in a major arena, or are they over in the fucking Rising Sun Casino in Indiana?
Well, just from the Wikipedia, it looks like they've run 18 events. The most recent one being Power Slap 18. Wolverine versus the Crazy Hawaiian.
Oh, Christ.
Before that was Power Slap 17, Blackburn versus Young 2. Apparently the Wolverine has been around a lot of these shows. There's a wrestler. These aren't wrestlers. There's a slapper named Dumpling. The Hawaiian Hitman, the Bell. KO Chris, so they've got gimmicks. Darius the Destroyer. There's a super heavyweight, light heavyweight, middleweight, welterweight, and lightweight division. And I'm just trying to see who's the current heavyweight champion. Their heavyweight champion is Ron Wolverine Bada. So that may be the man. Oh no, he lost the belt to the current champion, who's been the champion for 1,011 days, Damien the Bell Dibble. Damien the Bell Dibble.
Dibble couldn't be Bada.
Well, Dibble's about to run into Hager. We'll see if he wears his purple hat In terms of crowds,
So I bet you the girls' power slap that I was seeing with old Hollywood there's now probably what is this the outlaw circuit of power slappers? Is it will this be something where now we see the videos from the back? Will there be backyard power slapping, Brian? Or just like, home power slapping leagues where the sister and brother just stand there and just slap each other?
Dana should say that, people say it about wrestling, but the truth is power slap is the oldest sport in the world. People have been slapping each other since they were in the caves. I'm watching footage of it now. It appears to take place in an octagon without walls. And if it's not an octagon, just that kind of mat, that kind of surface, that kind of shape.
A stage, possibly.
These two are standing there. They've got their slap platform. The slap platform. It doesn't look like a big crowd for this one that I'm watching here, which is from Power Slap 16. Dumpling versus Manu. And I mean, it looks, smaller than Dynamite.
I'm gonna bet on a guy named Manu over a guy named Dumpling. That's just me, though.
It looks like a smaller crowd than a Dynamite, at least for this one. I mean, it doesn't look like it's I don't know what kind of buildings they're running.
I mean, are we talking? Is there 1,000 people there?
Hold on, they're showing this guy's belly. I mean, can I find
showing the guy's belly?
Are there 1,000 people that maybe? I haven't seen the other side of where the camera is.
Here's a question. Is there what are their ticket prices? Are they selling tickets to any upcoming events?
Oh, let me look at that.
Is this a hot ticket here?
Power Slap event. Buy tickets for Bada versus Viernes on March 6th. So this is coming up. Wolverine versus the Crazy Hawaiian in Las Vegas at the Azure Ballroom. Let's find where that room is. At the Fontainebleau. Get tickets.
Is it Fontainebleau or Fontainebleau?
Depends what part of the country you're from. There are no tickets available, so this is a sold-out event, apparently. And how many people could fit in this ballroom?
I was about to say, is the venue a closet, or can they get some balls in there?
Hold on.
But now then again, if they're in Las Vegas, just because they say, the tickets are sold out, is Dana giving them to his cronies and hangers-on and sponsors and business people and next-door neighbors and things?
I'm not sure if this can't be correct, is it?
Well, if it's on the internet, it must be true.
31,680 square feet. I'm trying to figure out how many people.
Yeah, that could be 40 people or 3,000, depending on the configuration. The Davis Arena here at OVW's building, I can tell you, is 8,000 square feet with the locker room areas. So, they could, I guess, get 1,000 or 1,500 people in there if they were of a mind to, but we don't know how it's set up. So it's a big room, basically. Hence the name ballroom.
It's a big room, according to AI, who just tried to get some quick information. It says here that it's located on level 4 of the Fontainebleau, and it features divisible spaces with individual sections, measuring 1,600 square feet. Each 40 by 40 by 24 section can accommodate approximately 178 guests for receptions and 107 to 133 people in banquet classroom styles.
What if they're having a wedding reception next door to the Power Slap? And could they do some kind of cross promotion where the fucking groom shoves the fucking cake in the bride's face and the bride slaps the groom and then he don't sell it. So here comes the Power Slap guy from next door and he knocks the fucking guy out and then carries the bride off. I'm just spitballing here.
Well, good luck, Jake Hager. I mean, this is a heck of a move here. You go from MMA to wrestling to Power Slap.
And again, now his brain cells were not potentially all as numerous as they once were to begin with at this point. So I'm just worried that he doesn't have a lot to lose.
No, people think he's going to do really well. He says that he's going to envision the slapper opposite him will be Tony Khan. So they really think he's going to tee off on the guy. But Jim, let's get away from Jake Hager.
Let's quickly, yes.
And let's get to some other news, because a lot of people have been sending us over thinking that you should comment on it. And I'm sure you have seen it. But John Laurinaitis, formerly known as Johnny Ace, has been booked
formerly known as Defendant C.
He's switched sides a few times in that case, but he has been booked for an appearance, his first appearance around wrestling since everything went down. And we have an interview quote here from him as well, but initial thoughts about Johnny Ace actually coming and making an appearance somewhere.
Well, actually, many of my comments have to do with the statement that he made. So why don't you read that for the people, and then we'll dissect everything.
Well, John Laurinaitis did an interview. This was with the two-man power trip of wrestling. And here he is talking about the show that he's booked on. I think the way big time wrestling, and I've had discussions with Bobby and Dylan, and you know, what they're looking to do is make it a place to be, so to speak. In other words, there's ideas of maybe having international talent come in, having more high profile names come in, and I'm really looking forward to their future, and hoping that somehow I can be a part of that, whether it's behind the scenes or help them with promoting and stuff like that, because I think that more places for talent to work, the better opportunity it is for the business. And I don't know if everybody realizes this, but I ran the WWE developmental system for 20 years.
Into the ground!
So my one love is to help and develop and groom young talent.
Wait a minute. Hold on. First of all, before you get to the next line, 20 years, he didn't take over for Jim Ross until 2004. It was only 22 years ago, and he's had numerous interruptions. But go ahead with the last line.
Once again, I ran the developmental system for WWE for 20 years. So my one love is to help and develop and groom young talent. And that's what I think the strategy is for big time wrestling. It's now to find young talent and develop them into the stars of tomorrow.
Oh my God.
And that's a quote from the groomer, John Laurinaitis.
You know, first of all, just again, the stunning, it's either complete stunning cluelessness or the stunning balls to use the word grooming, because it don't mean what it used to mean. Mama Cornette, that used to be a compliment when she would say, well, he's a very well-groomed young man. Man, you were tidy, you were neat, you were clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. That's not what it means to most people anymore. And that in his certain circumstance that he would use that terminology, maybe he is, again, any publicity is good publicity. But yes, in answer to the question you asked before, what are my thoughts on John Laurinaitis doing an appearance for the kind of people who like that kind of thing? I'm not sure there is any of them. However, it does get attention. And it's March 14th in beautiful downtown Chillicothe for World Classic Professional Big Time Wrestling, which the Bobby that was referred to is Bobby Fulton, and his son Dylan is handling some of the social media advertising. But this one,
that may not be the best idea, but we go ahead.
Well, there's many ideas here could have gone different directions. But this one was all John Laurinaitis, that he was doing this interview with these fine folks on their fine podcast. And so I wanted to make sure before that we spread any disinformation that we were on top of the facts. So I I checked in with a high-ranking official at World Classic Professional Big Time Wrestling. And because I, from the statement that he made, one would think that he's fixing to assume an executive position with aforesaid World Classic Professional Big Time Wrestling. Doesn't it sound like to you?
Let's assume the executive position.
Yes, well, and that may have been a code word. But the facts are that, yes, he is doing an autograph session and personal appearance at a aforesaid show, but he's not going to be running their developmental because they don't have one. He's not going to be training at their wrestling school because they don't have one of those either. If they bring in any international talent, it will probably be because said international talent is already on a fucking American holiday. They don't expect to be drastically increasing their goddamn international air travel bill. And there is little to no chance of John Laurinaitis joining the company in any executive capacities because there aren't any of those either. Bobby's been running his shows for quite some time, and at some point or another, he's had everybody on him. And bless his pea-picking heart, this one is shaping up to be quite the conversation piece. But no, John Laurinaitis he's just making shit up because he doesn't know, I guess, what the fuck they're even doing. They have a wrestling show and convention from time to time, but this is not a traveling territory or fucking anybody going to be signing any contracts for any international expansion. And
we're going to bring in international wrestlers. I'm going to use my connections. Get me Mrs. Baba.
He's delusional. I guess he's trying to make himself sound somewhat important still. But so yeah, there's that. It's like I'm going to the grocery next week. That doesn't mean that I'm automatically going to be hired on as a regional fucking Publix fucking supervisor.
So why is he doing? Well, I mean, figure out why is he doing the interview? Why is he saying this in an interview? Why is he saying that I'm going to be a part of like all these things that aren't even happening?
I think, well, he's trying to make himself sound in demand, I would assume. And also he's trying to pump it up in some kind of way. But instead of, advertising.
Trying to pump it up. That's exactly what I'm trying to do in the executive position.
Would you stop with these entendres? Instead of saying, well, here's the other names that's going to be appearing with me, or here's the fucking place, or here's the whatever. He's going to take over the company and become another executive. He might. I think they're going to start him slow. He's probably going to be postering Circleville first, and then he'll work his way up in the organization.
Can I say my comments on this? Is that okay?
I would love for you.
I really like Bobby Fulton. I think Bobby Fulton is a really good guy. I haven't talked to him in a while, but every interaction I've ever had with him has been incredibly positive. And I think because Bobby Fulton is a good guy with a good heart, he's trying to help out someone who he had a good relationship with. They worked a lot of All Japan tours together. For those who never saw 1990s All Japan, Johnny Ace was one step up from Dan Spivey in terms of fucking big stiffs who can't work, working in All Japan. But Mrs. Baba liked Johnny Ace. But I think Bobby Fulton's making a mistake here. And I think he tried to do this once before, I want to say, a couple of years ago when everything first started breaking down and the outcry was so heavy that they canceled the appearance. But I don't think the world is demanding or ready for a John Laurinaitis reclamation project. And even if you get beyond the perversion and whatever he was involved with his lover, Vince McMahon, and everything else, right? If they're doing things together, they're lovers. That's the way I see it. This guy was horrible for wrestling. This guy made awful decisions. This guy had no instincts. Couldn't pick talent. Literally, couldn't pick the right one-legged wrestler. He couldn't pick talent.
He picked talent out of a lingerie catalog. He could pick it just fine there.
So it's not like we're just saying like, oh, this guy was involved in all this awful stuff. But before that, what a cherished wrestling treasure this man was. No, John Laurinaitis, Johnny Ace, has not been a positive for the wrestling business. And again, I think
he looked good in a suit, and Stephanie liked his cute smile.
And he couldn't work, and he couldn't do promos, and eventually they made him another one of their characters on air at the same time that apparently he was lovers with Vince McMahon and whatever twisted fucking shit they had going on. My point is,
now don't use that word.
Shit?
Yes, in that context.
Yeah, pump me up.
No, listen, the point is, there's no demand for Johnny. All it does, I think, it brings attention, but it brings the wrong kind of attention. It makes people question Bobby Fulton and what he's doing. And again, I think Bobby Fulton is probably doing it because it's not going to draw anybody. He's doing it because he's trying to help someone out that he has a good relationship with. But I think it's the wrong decision, especially if you're promoting it all over social media. I just think it's a big mistake. And I want to say that. I like Bobby Fulton, but I think it's a big mistake him doing this.
Let's put it this way. I don't know what he's getting paid, but I can't see him drawing that at the gate. Let's just put it that way. But we don't have to worry about him going into the grooming business in Central Ohio.
What? Can you imagine how stupid he has to be to use that word?
I think it's some type of asshole-ish, but he might think dry wit because he can't be that clueless about it. That's what I said. He's either really fucking clueless about what he just said, or he's doing it on purpose just to get attention because he knows it's not like anybody else is going to just start booking him all over the place because of this. So he's, like you said, Bobby and he have known each other for a while back before all of these things, and he's just going to try to get some publicity. Certainly, he can't, of all words to use, develop, train, book, man, whatever.
But that's the other thing, though. Even if you want to get past the tone deafness of him saying that, when has he done that? When has he developed and groomed talent? When has he brought up talent and really nurtured them and developed them? When has that happened with John Laurinaitis?
I think he was breastfeeding Jindrak for a while there. But no, he was the head of the talent relations department. But at the same point in time, whereas Jim Ross actively did sign guys directly, recruit guys, and also he had Briscoe and Patterson, some of those people looking for talent. He organized the camps and the seminars that we had, et cetera. Laurinaitis signed all the contracts and left shit to Dreamer and those guys and said yes to Stephanie a lot. I'm sure he was giving a lot of guys a lot of advice at TV or whatever the fuck. I'm not sure all of it might have been good, but no, it's not like he's, oh, come here, kid. Let me show you this fucking sequence.
I hear there's some real talent in OVW. Let me destroy their career trajectory.
More like that.
Well, there it is. John Laurinaitis' big return to wrestling. Hopefully his big goodbye to wrestling as well. But, one thing he can do, Jim, one thing John Laurinaitis can do is maybe, actually, I don't know what he could do. Maybe John Laurinaitis, maybe part of the problem.
You know what the thing is with John Laurinaitis is for a long time now, he's been in the doghouse.
Well, actually, what I was going to say is John Laurinaitis is known for being bad at his job, lame, he can now only work for non-publicly traded companies, funny enough. But also, he likes music, I would assume. Everyone likes music. Let's talk about everyone else. Ladies and gentlemen, music makes the heart go round. In music, the passions enjoy themselves, I believe is what Nietzsche once said. And in your ear needs to go the right earbud to listen to the right music. Jim, why don't we talk about our good friends at Raycon?
So we went after we get out of the doghouse, we go right over to listen to music and scintillating conversation. And folks, you don't know how many times that you will see that people that listen to these regular high-priced earbuds that blocks out everything, they get run over by trains. Some of them run over by steamships there, because especially when you're swimming with these things, you need to hear. And it's unhealthy. So Raycon has solved that problem with the essential open earbuds. When you're out in the public, on walks or at the gym, and you need to hear a few things that are going on around you while at the same time listening to your music or your talk or whatever, well, then you just put these bad boys on, because they hook right over the ear, and the ear hook rotates. So no matter how deformed your side of your head is, even for people with leprosy, they actually stay in. The sound quality is just as good as the way more expensive brands, unless the leprosy, of course, has caused you to lose most of your ear.
Why don't we stay?
In which case, just switch both of them over the same ear, and you'll just hear twice as loud in mono. But these are half the price as the big ones.
Yeah.
Because they're not paying at Raycon. They're not paying for celebrity endorsements. It's just unknown putzes like me and Brian that are telling you how good they are. So they can save money on all the retail markups.
Yeah.
And they've got over 3 million customers. So by now, if the things were the shits, if they'd fucked 3 million people around, somebody would have punched them out by now and been arrested for it. You don't see any of that in the news. So, folks, they've got the open ear design where you can hear your music and the world around you at the same time, the multi-angular hook, and you can switch between your phone and laptop without repairing them all the time. They're lightweight, Brian. You can barely, it's like a gnat on your ear. You can easily just lift your head up as normal and turn to the left and right, say ah. They're not going to weigh you down. And with the 36 hours of battery life, giving you 8 hours of playtime and 36 hours of battery with the charging case, boom, you can just listen to shit until the cows come home. Of course, now you may have a problem with the cows coming home, because there's been all these reports of these illegal cow fighting rings kidnapping cows
come on now.
Off the side of the road. But
you were doing so well. You were doing so well here. You
can easily listen to these news reports with your Raycon Essential Open Earbuds. So, spring is coming eventually, sooner or later, descending on us all, and they're perfect for refreshing your routine this spring. Go right now to buyraycon.com, BUYRAYCON.com/JCE Open, and you're going to get 20% off. 20% off. Buyraycon.com/JCE Open. And then you could also, they have the extra ones that have the little, it's like a water pick for your ear. If you're getting the wax buildup,
it's nothing like that at all. It's nothing like that whatsoever.
You just push the button and it squirts the water in your ear. That helps rinse things out.
That is a funny item in development at Cornette's Collectibles, but not something from Raycon. But what you can get from Raycon are these incredible, everyday, and ear-friendly. And hold on, I got them over here. This is the wrong one. That's the old one. Where's the new one?
Oh,
shit. Where's the new one? It's been stolen from my office again.
The family has stolen them again.
Are you kidding me? Oh, here it is. I stole it from myself. The Essential Open Earbuds. I got mine in blue. These are fine earbuds, very popular with my family. They may be popular with yours, Jim. A great deal for the listeners that you should let them know about.
Well, I just did, but you weren't listening because you were looking for your earbuds.
Promo code. What I meant to say is, what's the promo code? Unlike some things, these are something that comes out of a box that will make you happy.
That's right. Buyraycon.com/JCE Open. You're going to get 20% off. and you just take them right out of the little box or the little container or whatever, and they don't even need to bust out on their own.
Once again, buyraycon.com/JCE Open. All right, Jim, the jovial music for the weekly marriage of wrestling and commercial advertising, WWE Smackdown, took place this past week, the day before the big Elimination Chamber.
And that organ recital there sounded like a funeral procession in a third world country.
Hey, that's not nice.
We wouldn't go into too much detail on SmackDown, and I won't on the contents, but it was in my old hometown, Louisville, Kentucky, on February 27th, the night before Elimination Chamber. And I have some reporting. They got somehow close to 10,000 people in that building, in the Yum Center. Now, the glass half empty people can say, well, it's a 20,000 seat building. But the glass ridiculously overpriced people can say, it's 10,000 people that paid the highest prices that have ever been charged, I think, for wrestling in this town. Because someone that I know who shall remain nameless, but is old enough that he used to be able to go down to the Louisville Gardens on Tuesdays as a kid every week and see the Memphis territory in the last days, and then got to see OVW at the Gardens and etc., wanted to take his son, who was not around at that point, and they sat on a second row. And guess what second row tickets for this show that we're about to talk about, SmackDown, was in Louisville, Kentucky? Second row.
I mean, I don't know what to guess it against, so I'm just going to guess a high number that'll probably not be high enough. $200.
$700.
Wow.
Is what now
Camera side? Wait, on the camera side, or?
I don't know what side. I didn't see him. Now, I got to verify whether that was for the two of them or each, because it's even more ridiculous. But even if it was for the two of them, that's $350. And I think he was saying $700 apiece. But I got an email from another guy who did not go, but usually goes, from Zach. And basically, he's been a wrestling fan since he was 5 years old. He's 39 now. He's been to WrestleManias. He's been to OVW down at St. Therese Gym and everything in between. And at the Yum Center, when they started running regularly for the TVs again after the commission changes, he has a friend that has a connection with a U of L season ticket holder and gets first right of refusal on any event in the Yum Center. So he's been buying this guy's WWE tickets.
Did you know about that? That there was a first right of refusal for regular fans of the college team?
Oh, yeah. If you've got, I'm sure there's different levels. I don't want to just make a blanket statement, but there is a thing where if you've got a season ticket to, because the primary tenants of the Yum Center are the Cardinals. Right. So if you got the season ticket for the whole schmear, you get your early bird opportunity or whatever it is, however they do it, for anything else in the building, not just wrestling, but anything. They got plenty of room down there. But anyhow, he started in 2017, and the last time that he attended Raw, it was 2025. And in that 7 years, the ticket prices went from $75 to $290. And these tickets, he sent me a picture. He sent me the location, which would mean nothing unless you had a seating chart in front of you. But this is in the stands. Not way up in the stands, but it's not like second row ringside. He was still in the stands. And he said at this point, they've officially priced me out of attending live events in my hometown. So he didn't even go to this one. But if you go back in the 70s and 80s, when there was periods where Jarrett was drawing 4,000 people or more a week to the Gardens, a second row ticket was $4 and $5, which adjusted for inflation today be $20, give or take, depending on the year. In the Attitude Era, of a house show at least, I don't believe that there would have even been a $50 second row ticket at a house show during the Attitude Era. They didn't do a lot of pay-per-views here at that point in time. OVW, and adjusted for inflation again, that wouldn't be $100. OVW, when we did the Golden Circle, I think second row was $25. Would that be a little over 50 or 60 today? Whatever. So this is insane. And these were great shows with mega fucking stars, with the NWA champions, with Andre the Giant, with Stone Cold Steve Austin. What the fuck is going on here? And people are paying it. Has it been so long since people have seen, they've trained them, I guess, to, this is an exciting wrestling show when you pay hundreds of dollars to sit here and it's 30 minutes in between matches and the longest segments are people talking to you. Let me talk to you. Say something, Brian. I'm dominating the conversation.
I was actually just recently speaking with a wrestling star about this very topic and the differences in the fan reactions when they're fans versus what we were kind of surmising, which are kids who grew up in the 80s and 90s watching wrestling who now have a lot of money. And they may not have the same time or interest in the current product, but they've got a lot of money and they know enough about who the top people are. And they'll go, and they're pricing out the longtime regular fan for the irregular schedule that is WWE. Those fans that never knew exactly when they were going to get to see WWE again. They hope the circus will come back to town. But they were there and they were waiting. And they wanted tickets. It's not just a Louisville story. You're hearing this everywhere now. We're getting tons of emails about this. And the fans who are being priced out, from what I've read and seen so far, they're taking it personal. They're taking it as if WWE doesn't care if I go to their shows or not. And the truth is, WWE does not care if you go to their shows or not. They're after the most amount of people with disposable income in one area, in one weekend, and then let's get out. They can get half the house they used to get, but they're going to charge prices where it'll be double the gate. It's obscene, and I think it will come back and bite them in the ass. It may not be tomorrow. And if the creative doesn't get better, it's going to really accelerate it, but it's going to bite them in the ass at some point because they're pushing out the longtime fans of live events and replacing them with, hey, I got a bonus this quarter. Let's go to wrestling.
I wonder if Ronnie Elligood got a bonus this quarter every time he was down at the Gardens on Tuesday nights.
Oh, that was one of the funniest reveals ever on this show. And you popped when I said that name. You screamed.
All right, well, let's talk about the show. They were in Louisville down at the Yum Center, and I'm not going to describe the opening segment so much as we can talk about what they had to do and why they had to do it, but they opened right off with chaos, with Jey Uso being loaded into an ambulance and everybody's in the back and there's arguing and there's controversy and there's yelling. And while that's going on, Drew McIntyre came out into the arena with the microphone. I didn't do it. It wasn't even me. I wasn't even there. And Aldis came out with the security and is pissed after everybody's yelled in the back. And Cody came out mad and wanted to fight Drew, but Drew wouldn't fight. But then here came Orton, and he wants to win the Elimination Chamber. And he was about to start to talk to Cody when here came Trick. And the fans like him. And he started to talk, but then here came Javon, and the fans like him. And he got to talk for 15 seconds. And then LA Knight came out, and the fans like him. And he cut the promo about he wanted to win the Elimination Chamber. And you may have sensed a pattern here that everybody in this fucking match is pretty much a baby face, right? Or in Trick's case, he is, whether they had positioned it that way or not. But then suddenly LA Knight punched Trick and they fought down the aisle, and Orton RKO'd Javon and stared at Cody and left. So the domino effect, Brian, that's why I said we're going to discuss why they did this, right? It was just a rushed angle and mess here, but
yeah, Operation We're determined not to have Jey Uso in this cage.
Well, yes, because he wasn't supposed to be in it to begin with. Because that's when Bronson Reed got hurt, and they said, well, we can't put Gable in it, so they called an audible and had Jey Uso win the match over the only other guy that was still left in the ring. But then they didn't want Jey in the match, so they did this. And how long are they going to keep him out? I don't know, but he's at a medical facility. But then this set up the show long storyline of, well, Logan Paul wants to be in it, but Jacob Fatu wants to be in it, and Heyman's politicking, and finally they're pitted in the main event. But I'm just wondering why they had to do it. Like, let's just get this fucking over with. As soon as we come on the air, they're putting him in the ambulance. They couldn't even let him come out and say, I'm so happy I won last week, and somebody hit him with a fucking ball bat. Did it seem odd to you?
I mean, I guess it's a way to signify to the fans that there's going to be a lot of chaos this week. You don't know exactly how things will work out. There's a pay-per-view the next day, so you know that anything could happen on this episode. They just didn't want Jey Uso on this episode, I think.
I was about to say, you mean it wouldn't be unpredictable and anything could happen if a guy's out there for 45 seconds before he gets hit in the head with a ball bat?
Because he wouldn't be out there for 45 seconds. It'll be 45 seconds after 7 minutes of music.
Oh, well, that's true.
That'd be you got it. You have to, in storyline, you have to present it where he gets attacked before he gets to the fans in the stands. If you get him in the stairwell or something, you're good to go. They got him before he got to the refreshment stand, wherever him and his brothers start from.
I think at some point we ought to just beat up the audio guy. Go to the heart of the matter. Anyway, so that was the opening segment, and they'll, as I said, Paulie's going to demand to Aldous put Logan Paul in, and later Jacob Fatu is going to demand, and then finally they're going to make the main event. So we'll come back to that. And then we're going to skip over briefly a few of these things because this is all you really got in a 3-hour show. And I can't, for the people sitting there live, I'm thinking, my fucking God.
For those prices, not just sitting there
for those
live.
Prices, yes. For those, but that's why I said earlier, they've trained people to think this is an exciting wrestling show, I guess, because they haven't seen one from, I don't know. Solo against Uncle Howdy. Poor Solo. His stock is in a toilet because Uncle Howdy beat him. He was almost untouchable a while back. But then all the MFT fellows came out and stole the lantern. So, boom. Jelly Roll was in the front row. And now he's the incredible shrinking man. But did you recently see that the humble and lovable and earnest and God-fearing friendly old Jelly Roll was on an airport tarmac somewhere with a big old smile and a bear hug for Christy Nome? So he's one of them. Maybe that's what's eating him from the inside out. And then Oscar and Carrie came out for Carrie's match with Tiffy. And Brian, the promo, the statement, the performance that they put on in the aisleway before this encapsulates every reason why I cannot stomach all the way that all of these lady wrestlers from Japan are presented. Why are they screaming and groaning and grunting about? It's like a bad Godzilla movie. Did you see this?
Bad Godzilla movie? You talking about?
No, the promo they did that is similar to a bad Godzilla movie dubbing job.
Okay, I was going to say, do you have a problem with Gigon's appearance? What made that movie awful for you? Was it Jaguar that you made?
I was a Mothra man.
All right.
Do you see what I'm saying here?
I see what you're saying. I think if you went back and looked at a stereotypical presentation of a wrestler from Japan in America 40, 50 years ago, it's not completely dissimilar to the way they're presented right now in terms of, I don't know what, behavior, I guess is the big word. But I enjoy Asuka and Kairi together. I do. So I don't have a problem.
We don't know if you have private videos that you've arranged for.
I have not arranged. I didn't realize I had to say I did not arrange for private videos.
You said you enjoy them together, but okay, so not dissimilar from the way that they were presented 40 years ago. You've seen tapes of Tojo Yamamoto, who had a pretty thick accent, correct?
Yes, of course.
Do you know how he spoke in real life?
No.
Exactly the same goddamn way. That was his accent. So he spoke softly. He just raised his voice, but he didn't goddamn put on any airs. I refuse to believe that these girls talk that way. Anyway, so Tiffy wrestled Carrie, and I forgot what happened. And then Miz wrestled Oba Femi. I love the way Oba Femi looks. I'm not sure how I feel about the little bounce, step, strut, walk thing he does. I don't. Oh,
it works. I think it works for him because he's so big and, it's like big bully. Not that he's a bully, but a big, tough guy doing that. My issue was the interplay with The Miz went on way too long. This guy should have just killed him.
Well, yes, that's the stepping thing. I understand. Yes, it is distinctive. I don't know where it came from or how they managed to come up with that. But yes, basically they did a promo exchange where The Miz wanted to join forces with him and a blah, 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 trying to get out of an ass kicking. And then Oba Femi obviously turns him down and then, growls at him. I think he said he didn't actually come out and say he was going to kill him. What did he say? I can't remember. Some phrase of, I'm going to finish you off here. And then he finished him off in about 1 minute, which is what should have happened. They've got something with Oba Femi. The people like him. He's got charisma. And I'm like you, as the same way that his matches, unless it's a real top guy, need to be short and intense. The promos need to be short and intense. I don't think he needs to stand there and listen to a lot of gaga from other people.
For the last several years, WWE fans have seen a lot of people debut coming out of NXT, especially. But even people that come from other companies, there have not been many people, if anyone at all. There has to have been someone, but not many people as big and impressive as Oba Femi. You get a lot of smaller people with charisma. He's impressive on sight alone.
Yes.
And then he shows his charisma. So we'll see. I mean, what are your thoughts today about the idea of Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar?
Well, that may be the path that they're looking at right now. And it wouldn't be bad if it's short and intense. And I believe they could do a good job of it. I'm sure Heyman would help with layout. It'd be all their big moves and don't anybody wear their welcome out. And I think it would probably be a money match at this point. People would think, oh, this may be the guy, but he has to be the guy to beat Brock. You couldn't have the match and not have Obafemi win. If he couldn't win, don't have the fucking match. So I don't know where they're at in their minds with Brock right now.
Right now, they got Obafemi to the point where he's not feuding with anyone and no one's clamoring for it. They just want to see him come out there and crush people. And they should take advantage of that.
Yeah, and they had him and Brock do the face-off in the Rumble, and I know a lot of people, that means it's the WrestleMania direction. No, just because that was the goddamn thing that people would want to see in the Rumble, so they were teasing it. It could take a year to materialize, but it at least they've pointed in that direction, so it wouldn't be bad depending on how quick they want to move with Oba and what they still have planned for Brock. Anyway, did you watch the U.S. title match between Carmelo Hayes and Cardona Matt?
I watched it. Yes, I did.
Well, what happened? Because I didn't give two shits about it.
Carmelo won.
Well, surprise, surprise. He was the number 3 draft pick. I want to remind you again, a year and a half ago or whatever the fuck they last did it? What the fuck?
Well, they're finally using him better than they were.
I still don't see it. I don't get it. Ain't gonna get it. Then they did a spot in the back where R-Truth, standing in front of the box that would be revealed at Elimination Chamber, explained to all the job guys how to order the ESPN app. And number one, I still didn't understand it, but I wouldn't be expected to because I don't know how any of that shit works. Stacy does it all. Or you. Well, you're not in my house, but you know what I mean. But having said that, what does it say when the most allegedly dim-witted person on the roster has to tell all these other poor jobbers how to get this thing under the guise of their still trying to explain to people how that they can watch the big shows now, that they got to download the thing and go to this and stream that and pull your phone out and grease it up, shove it up your ass. And then when it rings, your fucking teeth will vibrate, etc. And I'm sure the people that paid hundreds of dollars for ringside tickets were excited to watch that on the screen, weren't you?
No. And this is not the first time they've had R-Truth try to explain how to purchase the pay-per-views. Apparently, Xfinity, my cable provider, now offers ESPN Plus for free. So I have to figure out how to switch my subscription from pay to that. So at least I'll have that going for me. There was a big debate on social media this past week about whether these backstage skits should go away, whether they're not helpful to wrestling, whether we see too much of them or whether they're just bad. I personally am of the belief that they are counterproductive to the show. And for anyone arguing, but they were really big and popular during the Attitude Era, that was a long time ago. But what are your thoughts on these? With
stars that are far, far away.
What are your thoughts on these backstage segments and the fact that they're still prominent on these shows? Camera right in front of two guys talking, no one sees the camera.
That's the thing. Not only when you had guys like Foley and Austin and guys that could just talk and were superstars, and you'd listen to them, give their fucking fast food order, whatever. And also it was a little fresher back then, but still in a lot of cases, there was an interviewer, an announcer or whatever. But when you're compounded by they're so incessant and the writers feel like they got to have every face on the fucking show, so they give them some kind of skit to perform or light comedy. It's too much. It's ridiculous when there's some kind of secretive talk going on and the camera's right there. Like we're really having a heart-to-heart here that we wouldn't want anybody else to eavesdrop on. So hopefully that microphone 6 feet away can't pick us up. It's lazy presentation now. Just like it was a departure when they started doing it, it would now be a departure if they stop doing it. There's no reason you can't have a roving reporter back in the back, or even like TNA did at one point. I'll give them that. They tried to shoot around the corner like they were eavesdropping. At least it was something. But, it's just, it's really like a goddamn episode of Hee Haw. Where, and now here's the skit in the cornfield. No, it's the skit by the equipment box.
It's more like the Muppet Show, where here's the guest star with his skit, and then you get to see in the back Kermit freaking out because he's trying to set up the next skit. But he doesn't know the camera's there filming him do that.
You know what the next skit was, don't you? And again, this is what I'm saying, hundreds of dollars. We got all the top guys in a 10-minute argument, a little flurry at the top. And then we got Solo and Howdy. We got Tiffy and Carrie. We got Miz and Oba, Carmelo and Cardono. And then Candy LaRue and Jordan Grace. And for whatever reason, now Gargano is doing comedy where he walks out at a daze and goes to sleep on the announcer's desk. Hundreds of dollars people paid.
Well, no, the comedy is he apparently does this all the time now in the back. Like they wheeled him by before earlier in the show sleeping on something, and there's pictures posted of him sleeping on random things, and it's the same.
He's summoned.
It's the same face as when he's awake. So what's the problem?
Yeah, you can't really tell the difference, except he's in another direction. When he's normally standing upright, when he's asleep, he's fucking horizontal or whatever. It's just same thing. Then the women's tag team championship, Brian, was up on the line, and I enjoyed this, not because I watched it, but because the Fridge and Lash LaRue beat Io Sky and Rhea Ripley for the women's tag team title in a long match. They beat Rhea, which I would not have done. But at least now, and as with what happened at the Chamber, apparently Rhea Ripley is out of this tag team with her little misfit sidekick and is back in the singles picture. And you got the Tank Sisters, as Tojo Yamamoto once said, the Tank brothers, Sherman and Septic. You got the Tank Sisters as the tag team champions. And did I mention this was a long match? But at least, again, these two parade floats, who's going to beat them for the tag team title? Give them the belts. And they present a powerful faction, and Rhea still needs to be continue to be the star of the women's division.
Well, it sounds like they may believe what you're saying too, because after the pay-per-view, which we'll talk about a little later, obviously there are different priorities now for Rhea, and that's what's needed. I know a lot of people like her tag team with Io, but we've said it for a while since before they were teaming. She needs a run where she's pushed well, where she gets wins, where we don't see her lose. Hopefully this is that, because the fans are she's still the most over woman on the entire roster, I think.
Yeah, but I'd like them to put something back in her bank account.
What are you representing, Buddy Murphy here? What was that? She's great, but they better give her some more money right now.
No, put something back in her bank account. I mean, give her wins. She's over, but she's been beaten a lot or subliminated underneath the title picture. Put some more over back in her account, so she's got some capital to spend again. That's what I'm trying to say. And then after that match, they had more girls in the back talking to each other while Charlotte ate ice cream and cried. I'm not making that up.
Woo!
And by this point, we were past 2.5 hours into this show. And if you deducted, honestly, the girl stuff, I don't know, there was an hour of the men. But hundreds of dollars. So then we got to Logan Paul and Jacob Fatu to see who was going to take Jey Uso's placed the Elimination Chamber, and they rang the bell. There was 12 minutes left in this 3-hour show. All that crap that I've just delineated that they could have shaved a couple minutes off of maybe, but and at the same time, I don't want Fatu going out there for 25 minutes because that's not, he needs to be explosive and intense, not to the level of, oh, Bafemi, he's more experienced, he can do more, but for his gimmick. And Logan Paul is a guy who, as we've said, he's still a little green. If he hadn't had time to run through a match extensively, just on the fly, he could be a little herky-jerky, even though he's athletic. So Jacob beat the shit out of Logan Paul for a while at the start. And in the break, that Theory out there, he helped stop Fatu for the heat, and they went back and forth. Again, I think Logan Paul, he went too far on a moonsault one time, but he actually got his arms down where he did like a flying, as he went over the top of Jacob, he did like a flying forearm to him. But they were kicking it in, and Fatu made his comeback and nailed Theory, and Paulie struggled up to the apron. I was afraid he might tip the ring over, but he got there. And Jacob grabbed him, and Logan Paul gives Jacob the nut shot from behind and the big knockout punch and a good-looking splash off the top and got a 2 count. So now the people are fucking woke up into it. Holy shit. And then suddenly, the Masked Man appears, and he knocked Theory down, but Logan Paul rolled out, and knocked him out. And then the security came and they popped the hood, and it was nobody. It's a nobody. And at that point, everything come to a halt. And I'm like, I wish they would have kicked the pace up there a little bit, because it was a little blah. They had everything going so well. But then the match continued, and Jacob hit the Samoan drop and went to the top. And now here's Drew McIntyre out of nowhere and hit Fatu in the head with the belt, and Logan Paul schoolboyed him 1, 2, 3. So they got Logan Paul into the Elimination Chamber, but they did everything but shoot Jacob Fatu with a bazooka. So they're still protecting him.
Well, that was going to be my first question for you. Do you have any problem with them beating Jacob Fatu to do this?
Well, they had to. Again, they wouldn't be doing any of this if Bronson Reed hadn't got hurt. But at the same time, what they've been doing with Jacob Fatu, if he didn't demand to be in the Elimination Chamber, if he didn't speak up and try to, that would be worse than him saying, yeah, I'll fight this fucking guy for the spot, and getting fucked over by a variety of, henchmen. So this was not a job that I think hurts Fatu in people's eyes. But at the same point now, he's still in line to be added into the title picture for something at any fucking point, because he got screwed blatantly. So this wasn't bad, but it took a long time to get there. And that was SmackDown. And that's, again, hundreds of dollars.
What'd you think of Logan Paul in there?
Again, he's green, but he's so athletic. Unless he's walked through a match, he's not going to be flawless, but he's in control of himself. And if he doesn't really fuck shit up very often, as much as just look a little awkward in a transition at this point. So I think he's still ahead of his game, but this may not have been the greatest match either guy ever had, but they had to have it.
Well, again, the booking is changing on the fly due to circumstances within their control and beyond their control, but that was WWE Smackdown. Jim, after Smackdown, some people might say you need a good night's sleep.
Some people might say that. I'd be one of them. As a matter of fact, I needed a good night's sleep before SmackDown because I tape it and watch it the next day. I can't stay up that late. But folks, if you don't want to stay up late at night, if you want to look forward to laying your weary body down at the end of a hard day of dealing with your family and your job and your general life, and you just want to dive into a cloud and float off into a sea of tranquility on a Helix sleep mattress, it's going to be something you look forward to. It's going to be something you're almost jonesing for. As a matter of fact, sometimes you're going to have to take tranquilizers to keep yourself from having a nervous breakdown, just anticipating the opportunity to lay down on a Helix mattress again.
No.
Many people have decided they're not even going to get up the next day.
Ladies and gentlemen, not exactly true. And of course, not true. Let's just focus on true.
Let's focus on some people say, fuck, why do I want to get up in the morning and go and be miserable all day when all I'm going to be thinking about is coming back down and laying on this Helix mattress?
Well, that's different.
So they just stay in bed all day.
I agree with that sentiment.
And that way they're already there that night. Now your job is after 3 or 4 days, it's not going to be there anymore. But hell, you don't want to get up off this mattress anyway. And as long as your wife will come and lay down on this mattress with you, well, then all your needs are fulfilled. But if she can't understand, she's going to have to get in with you rather than you going to find her, because you don't want to lose your place on this Helix mattress. She might lay down on your side, and then you'd have to kick her out of bed and throw her out the window.
No,
nobody
should do that.
Spot.
Nobody should do that.
That's right. Nobody should take your spot on a Helix mattress because it's bought with you in mind. It feels good just for you. You go to helixsleep.com and you take the quiz, and they match you with the perfect mattress based on your personal preferences. They make it easy, and then it's delivered right to your door. Free shipping in the United States. Now, Bolivia, different matter. And you can rest easy, no pun intended, because of the seamless returns and exchanges, the Happy with Helix guarantee, the 120-night sleep trial, the limited lifetime warranty. That's if you live forever, they're going to void you sooner or later. That's why they call it limited lifetime. No. You've got a limited time left, people. Use it wisely. But it's for you, this mattress. So if your boyfriend or girlfriend or wife or husband or cousin or significant other don't like it, well, they can sleep on the couch because it's all for you. Just stay there. Put you a refrigerator right next to the Helix sleep mattress on one side. Put you a stove on the other side and a TV down at the end. And you'll be farting through silk with the special silk Helix sleep.
Metaphorically, there's no special silk anything. Will you stop already?
Well, a study that they ran found that 82% of those involved in that study saw an increase in their deep sleep cycle while sleeping on a Helix mattress. 80% of those people reported it was just because they enjoyed sleeping on a mattress, and the other 2% had been attacked by their significant other who felt left out of the mattress buying procedure and hit over the head with a mortar and pestle.
Okay. You get the full sweep there. Ladies and gentlemen, all kidding aside, if that's what we can call whatever it is we just heard, we want to talk about mattresses that we love here in my home, at Castle Cornette, and at homes all across this nation of ours.
And around the world.
Well, let's just focus on this nation of ours, I believe, based on the deals that we're offering here. All across this nation of ours, the great Helix sleep mattress, loved by the lass, loved by the Cornettes, and they can be loved by you next. Jim, a great deal for the listeners on a brand new mattress.
That's right, because they want to be loved by you, and nobody else but you. So lay your ass down on their mattress today. Poop-poopy-doo. Go to helixsleep.com/JCE and you are going to get 27% off site-wide, the site from one side of the site to the other, east to west, asshole to appetite, all the way from one end to the other, Maine to Spain on a choo-choo train, 27% off site-wide, helixsleep.com/JCE.
There it is, a fine mattress from Helix Sleep. Get one today. And Jim, we had a big weekend of wrestling action, a lot to wake up to this weekend. And of course, Saturday was the Elimination Chamber, WWE's annual event on the road to WrestleMania, where lucky competitors win main event matches or title matches, whatever it may be, they win them.
And big prizes.
You're brand new car.
Well, the Elimination Chamber, which was in Chicago. You know, have you noticed, Brian? There's no, I think I've said this before, there's no happy in between. In an AEW show, it lasts for 5 hours. You get 13 matches. WWE, this show lasted 2 hours and 50 minutes. We got 4 matches. Can't we find something that's like 3.5 hours, give us 8 or 9? Just somewhere in the middle. That's all we ask. I'm not even going to wear it out. What I say every time about every gimmick match, Royal Rumble, fucking whatever the fuck the girls' version comes before the guys' version. So we get to see 2 of them. And in this case, the women's chamber event. Do you think they give the chamber women chamber pots?
No.
I'm just wondering.
No.
Do you have a chamber pot? I've got a chamber pot.
I don't have a chamber pot, no.
My mother.
These are medieval times. Sorry.
My mother left to me. It was actually a very old gimmick of a joke chamber pot with a little ring of mink fur around the edge of it. But anyhow, the mink fur was around the edge of these women in the women's elimination chamber, which is surrounded by heavy metal chains and plexiglass and hard surfaces, so naturally nobody got busted open. Alexa Bliss took on Rochelle. Rochelle took on Kiana James, took on Tiffany Stratton, took on Rhea Ripley, took on Oscar. And again, it was obvious from the entrances of this that Rhea Ripley is the star of the division. And I know that people like Tiffy. And Rochelle is doing a good job. Not sure about Kiana yet. She's a robust young lady in good physical condition.
She's good. She's really improved. Every time I watch her now, I'm like, wow, she's better than the last time I saw her. She's good.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's not any good. I'm saying I'm not sure about her yet because that librarian look.
Yeah, the gimmick
is yes. Yeah. And then Alexa Bliss, little Lexi, she's in there too. And I mean, I can't critique this as a match with the story they told and the logic behind it and the comebacks and the drama because it's 2 girls start and do shit to each other until each one comes in and they do more shit to each other. Same as the guys. I'm not being sexist. With Kiana and Tiffy in between the handsprings and the round-offs and the backflips, they did some wrestling. And then Oscar came in and beat up some people. And I wrote, I've never seen so many handsprings. And then Alexa came in. And I noted that it was about 15 minutes in and nobody's makeup was smeared yet. I mean, I understand the motivation for a cage match blow off in a bitter feud. I understand the War Games, as we talked about, was originally for the Horsemen and Dusty's superpowers, the factions that had a blood feud to settle things. They've just made these gimmicks bigger and more opulent because they've got a bigger budget and it looks even more contrived. And then they've set it up to where they have to have people in these matches, whether they have any blood feud or not. And then I don't even know. I can't keep track of the women who's babyface and who's heels. But if they hadn't put Logan Paul in the goddamn men's chamber match, I don't think they would have had a heel. So it's baby faces beating each other up intermittently. They're doing moves to each other. And again, I have to make the one statement. If the girls can do this in this environment and nobody gets carried out on oxygen, then why are the guys scared? So then Rhea Ripley came in and the fans woke up and she beat everybody up. And she and Alexa Bliss played Twister trying to do something. And then Oscar misted Alexa and Kiana beat her 1, 2, 3. So she was eliminated. But then Rochelle came in and she beat up everybody. And they got her over in this thing. She powerbombed Kiana through one of the pod windows and then powerbombed Oscar on top of Kiana and pinned both of them. So that was a nice spot. And then she hung Rhea up in the cage upside down and beat up Tiffy. And then Rhea was able to get loose. So as Rochelle was going to do something to Tiffy, Rhea cannonballed her off the top and Tiffy moonsaulted her 1, 2, 3. So we ended up with Rhea and Tiffy. And again, you had to, because those are kind of the two biggest stars of this match. But there's no heel here. These two are good with each other. But it's not like people are just living and dying by, oh my God, my girl has to win or all hope is gone. And finally, Rhea pushed her off the top rope into the fucking pod and hit a riptide 1, 2, 3. And then Rhea and Jade stared at each other because Jade Cargill was in the bleachers in the skybox or whatever the fuck.
Well, you have to be happy with the result.
Well, yes. I mean, that's pretty much the only result because Rhea needs to be back in the title picture. If anybody can get something out of Jade, she can, because not only is she the same size comparably, she'll be able to move Jade around if Jade's not sure where she needs to go. But is Jade's gray hair off-putting to you?
No, she looks like a superhero.
I think I like the blonde better. She used to be blonde, didn't she? Or am I just imagining it?
It was always white. And there was always like white, like Storm from X-Men.
Well, white blonde, like, Wayne Ferris blonde or whatever. But anyhow, I agree with the finish. I just, again, the women's elimination chamber, it's a gimmick before a gimmick, and they have to go through this, and then we got to watch it again later on. So it's this show was like, again, the contrast at the beginning and at the end. We were in Gimmickville with this overdone structure and all the flashing lights and bells and whistles and guys just doing moves to each other. At least there was no furniture to complicate matters further. They at least just stuck with the cage gimmick. But then in the middle of it, we had two classic, regular, ordinary, everyday, normal wrestling matches, one-on-one, with people that were over, having matches that made sense. But in the case of Punk and Finn, it wasn't the money match that everybody wants to see, which is Punk and Roman. And in the case of Becky and AJ, honestly, I think for business purposes and just for the art of wrestling, that may have been the best thing of the whole show. But it's I guess that's what I'm saying is we were sandwiched by the total gimmickry. And in the middle was two of the more normal wrestling matches that you will ever see on television these days. But that's what I thought about that.
What do you think of Jade sitting up in the stands like that?
I think that's the best place for her. I might, next time, I might try the parking lot.
All right, that's not nice.
I maybe just put her on top of a double-decker bus so she can see in the window, but she's not really in the building.
I don't know what your problem is all of a sudden with Jade Cargill, but Jim.
Yes.
There were more matches. In fact, 3 more on this big pay-per-view spectacular.
3 more is almost an average of 1 every 50 minutes. So then the match that I just talked about, the women's intercontinental title, AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. And again, it was a study in contrast and extremes, this show. It's a 3-hour show, but there's only 4 matches. 50% of them were women's matches. And they took up the first hour and 20 minutes of the pay-per-view. I was wondering if this may be because I've been cursed by a gypsy somehow. But then once I watched this one, I'm like, well, geez, if they led off with this, I'd have been just as happy. Because this, yes, there were things that could have been performed better. But you've got a hometown babyface, by virtue of marriage hometown, not only with a feel-good story of a return, her first single match in 10 years. It's in a sold-out building with almost 20,000 people. She's wrestling maybe the top heel girl in the company for a title. And they're both over. The people are into it. And they have a wrestling match. And there was plenty of twists and turns in the finish, but none of it involved goddamn masked people running in and stopping everything cold or crashing through multiple pieces of furniture. It was logical and psychology that people that like to throw that word around. It made sense from beginning to end in the wrestling universe. And it built from start to finish. I don't know why Becky Lynch was wearing Jackie Fargo's ring jacket from 1959 to work in, but Becky's got great heel attitude and body language. And she doesn't mind showing it to the people and fucking working them as well. And AJ seemed, what is this, the second match I've ever seen of hers, counting the mixed tag last year, right? She seems to know how to sell. They tried to work a wrestling match as best they could. They did a better yay boo than the guys in AEW. They had their back and forth false finishes, and then they went into the Hollywood part. They took off a turnbuckle pad, which would figure in later. They were still doing a lot of fucking back and forth. When the referee went to put the turnbuckle pad back on, then Becky ran AJ into the referee. Jessica Carr, the counterpoint Aubrey Ed for this company. And then, boom, Becky gets a schoolgirl. AJ kicks out. Becky goes for a roundhouse kick and kicks the referee in the head. That'll look pretty fucking tight. I'm glad I wasn't on the receiving end of that one. So then AJ got her submission on Becky, and Becky's tapping, but there's no referee, and the fans are up. And Becky stops AJ and goes to the floor and beats her up a little bit, pulls out a chair and throws it in the ring. But AJ fights back, and they get back in. And Becky foils the spinning DDT and DDTs AJ on the chair, which could have looked better, but I think Becky was rushing a bit. And then Becky got the referee, hit the manhandle slam cover, 2 count. And she's gobsmacked, and the people blew at that point. They're, yay! So then Becky tried to run AJ into the buckle with no pad, but the referee stopped her. They went back and forth. AJ missed something, but they went right on. And Becky on purpose missed a charge and hit the bare buckle, and AJ got her hold, and Becky tapped. And that got a big pop. They got to see the hometown girl win the belt. So, again, I grade on, did it make any sense? Was it ridiculous and embarrassing or overly fake? Some things could have been performed better, but a one-on-one match with a heel and a baby face that made sense and didn't break any tables and made the fans happy with the hometown babyface win. I think they've just sold a bunch of AJ Lee merchandise there. I didn't have anything wrong with this, but tell me what you think, Brian. Now tear it apart.
That was the nicest way I ever heard anyone say that match stunk. It was, I guess, fine for what it was. I'm just gonna say no, thank you. I'd
have made it a little shorter. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say no, thank you. She was super over. The fans there were happy, but it's not for me, and it's not for me.
I'm thinking
I wasn't a fan of it, and it wasn't for me.
I'm thinking this show was better for Chicago than it was for the rest of the world.
Let me say this too, and that's an important point you just made, because it's not the match, the whole show. I didn't like this whole show. I thought this whole show stunk. The next match ain't bad. I'm not saying it is, but for a pay-per-view, like the whole thing,
well,
it just didn't, it didn't click for me. And, you know, sometimes after that happens, if you're not looking online, you think to yourself, it's probably just me. I'm the only one. But no, I heard this from everyone, pretty much universally.
Well, see, that's the women's chamber was what it was. The men's chamber, as we'll get to, until the end, was what it was. And that's why I say of the show, Becky and AJ had to be my favorite, because it was a match they wanted to see that was fucking over with, and they did the right thing for business, but especially it was the 20,000 people in Chicago. And with the Punk match with Finn, yes, it was probably one of the better wrestled matches that you're going to see in the WWE. And if it hadn't have been Chicago and Punk being over, nobody would give a shit, because they've already announced Punk and Roman. That's what people are wanting to see. This was put on the show to sell out the United Center, and people in Chicago liked it, but nobody thought that Finn, even the people in Chicago, when Finn was in charge in a lot of cases, nobody thought he was going to win this. And the announcers saying, well, Finn could change the complexion of WrestleMania if he, no, he's not. Because everybody knows now, since they're all smart and they watch Unreal, there's no goddamn way they're trading Punk versus Roman for Finn versus Roman at WrestleMania. So they only had 4 matches. The 2 gimmick matches that the show is named after were except, again, this was to get Punk on the show, and it was the best match of the night. But did anyone care?
Yes, it was.
If a great match falls in the forest, does anybody get to fucking throw it in the wood chipper or whatever?
It was the best match on the show. It was a really good match, despite the fact that you knew Punk wasn't losing in Chicago to Finn Balor before the Roman Reigns match. Other than that, it was a really good match.
Did it sell any ticket anywhere outside of Chicago?
Again, the people in Chicago had a ball.
Yeah.
And if you're watching Raw, it's been built up on Raw. They've spent a lot of time on a match that the result was never in question, which is kind of crazy, but it was the best match on the show.
And I guess I shouldn't say, did it sell a ticket outside of Chicago? Did it gain a viewer necessarily outside of Chicago because of, did it make or break the telecast? The answer is probably no, for the reasons we just said.
But, you know,
nevertheless,
I don't think Becky Lynch and AJ Lee did, but I don't think most things would. I think for something like the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber, barring a major match like, you know, a world champion versus someone you think could win the belt, The gimmick matches are the show. You can kind of fill up the rest of the show with nothing. It used to be,
and they do,
6 or 7 matches and nothing. Now it's just a few matches, but the gimmick matches, I think, the draw more than anything.
Well, they started this one off with a nice Alan Parsons Project entrance. Did you like a little serious there?
A throwback to
People
the
thought
Chicago
of Ricky
Bulls.
Steamboat.
And the Chicago Bulls, of course.
Well, and the fucking North Carolina Dragon.
Well, he was doing it in Chicago. It's really more about the Chicago Bulls. And Steamboat released wrestled in Chicago to that music.
I know I'm playing with you.
Can I tell you something? The worst thing in the world is watching any cut of WrestleMania 3 over the last 25 years where they edit out Sirius, and it's just generic dun 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 music for Ricky Steamboat, and it doesn't work. And it was so cool that night. If you watched it live or had the videotape, him coming out there to that music, it's not the same when you replace it. With all their money, why can't they just use everyone's original music in those old clips? It wouldn't cost everything at this point.
I think at some point it's the paperwork and the multiple ways of distribution and keeping track of that. They'd have to hire fucking accountants if they actually did it legitimately. But nevertheless, they did the long walk to the ring. He's got the Larry Forever jacket on. And Punk's over. It was Lawler in Memphis. He took his time coming down the aisle. He worked the people. It's his town. Then they did the intros. Finn is ripped. And I was shocked when they started out. I said, more wrestling. What the fuck's going on here? 2 matches in a row, they start out wrestling. And again, this was the best wrestling match of the show. It had oomph because of the Chicago fans behind Punk. Was anybody watching really overly nervous that, Punk was going to lose? I don't think so. At least they know how to work body parts, for fuck's sake. Boy, the old-time heels used to get on a goddamn greenhorn when he'd come back if the guy had stopped somebody with a fucking bulldog headlock to the face and then worked their stomach and then gave them a body slam on their back. They go, what's the matter? You can't keep track of what you're doing? But anyhow, nice back and forth match with excitement. Did you see the tater where Punk had Finn on his back and had his feet, was going to go in for a sharpshooter or whatever, and Finn does the up kick and just kicked him right in the fucking face, busted his lip open. He goes back in the corner with his hand to his mouth like, what the fuck? Was that personal?
I hate to say it, but it added to the match. Him having the blood on his mouth added to the match.
Well, yeah, I would have bit a fucking rubber if it had been me, and that way we'd had both, wouldn't we? Without being kicked in the face. But anyway, they went back and forth, and finally, Punk had hit a go to sleep, but Finn fell out to the floor where he couldn't be covered. So they went out to the floor, but Finn ended up drop kicking Punk through the barricade, and it rolled him right in and hit him with a drop kick and went for the stomp. And when he came off the top, Punk caught him in midair, caught his leg, and rolled through and sharpshootered him. And sharpshootered him. He applied the sharpshooter upon him. And that was pretty slick. And then they were finally fighting for the sharpshooter. And here's the one thing about this finish I didn't like. I don't know whether they didn't clue the announcers in, and I would have to think that they would know what the fuck. And I think maybe the announcers just forgot and blew it, because after that sharpshooter, Finn had made the ropes. And then Punk tried to get it again, and Finn was fighting back and trying to tater kick him again. And Punk finally kicked Finn downward in the head multiple times, I think like 7 or 8 times, and then powered him up and hit the GTS, boom, cover, 1, 2, 3. But while they were doing that, the announcers were doing a WrestleMania plug and whatever, instead of saying, Punk's going for that sharpshooter again, Finn trying to fight it off. Oh my God, look at Punk's foot down on Finn's head time after time. How much of this can Finn stand? Now he's got the fucking up for that type of thing. Building up like, look, I'm calling your attention to what is happening right now. This is important. That would have drawn the people in just that much more, so it wouldn't look like to the viewing audience. People in the fucking arena can't hear the commentary anyway, but the viewing audience, they're being talked to about, well, at WrestleMania, when this guy's getting stomped in the head 8 times and about to be knocked out. Did you notice that, or did you care, or do you listen to the commentary?
I wasn't really paying too much attention to the commentary. During this match, at least.
Well, I thought they blew that. But otherwise, boom, GTS, 1, 2, 3. So again, we had a one-on-one match with no furniture, a clear babyface and heel. But it wasn't really a PLE. It was a PLE quality match, but not a PLE money match, I guess.
What'd you think of the handshake afterwards?
I think they almost had to, but more than that, I think they're going to do something with Finn because he had already asked the other 17 members of Judgment Day, not it said, don't come out, I'm going to do this on my own, and the announcers brought that up again. So I'm thinking they might be going to do a little something with Finn, maybe turn him against the rest of the group, whatever the fuck, because, you know, but they almost had to here. It was kind of like a mutual respect thing. It's not like, Logan Paul could never get, even if he had a great match, he should never shake hands with the fucking babyface, and the babyface that does shake hands with him would be a dumb shit for doing it. Because a guy like Logan Paul can never be a babyface because, especially in this day and age, we have already figured out that, yes, he's a great performer in the ring, but he's also just a dick outside of it. And he would always do something that would make news that would counteract any effort to make him a babyface. Whereas with Finn, most people know that he has a reputation for being a pretty decent fellow, a good mate, a good mate.
What accent is that? What accent is that?
That's a fucking accent from
where?
A chimney sweep in a Charles Dickens movie. Where it's from?
He's from Belfast, I believe.
Well, you do and you'll clean it up. But anyway, speaking of the Belfast, this wasn't really a fast match, but again, in between these things, between the commercials and the plugs and the Zabadas and Fernum Snavets, we had 4 matches and an uncrating in 3 hours.
Well, of course, Jim, we have one more big match to go, but in some ways, the real main event was the big reveal WWE had been teasing for, I don't know, a week and a half, that a box, a crate, that for some reason was being sent back and forth between shows, needed to be opened at this pay-per-view event, this premium live event. And here we are, Jim. Everyone thinks of you when it comes to a big reveal coming out of a box. Let's go to you for your expert commentary on this history-making moment.
Well, I believe I will hearken back to, was it last week's Drive Thru or was it on the Experience? I said, look, the origination of the whole thing is down through wrestling history. And I enumerated some examples of baby faces that had come out with mystery boxes that may have or may not have the heel's name on it or whatever. And basically, I said, if you bring a box out there and you make a big deal out of it for a couple of weeks, who is this? Who's it for? Where's it from? Or maybe we know who it's from. Or maybe we know who it's to, but we don't know who it's from. But you make a big deal out of it. And then when the moment comes, someone that people know, a star or a returning person or a special bounty hunter or whatever, or someone to embarrass the manager, bursts out of the box and makes a fucking impact by doing something chaotic or impactful. And that's why everybody comes out of a box is over. Except if you don't do any of those things. And if you don't do any of those things, then you've just got a guy coming out of a fucking box. And so they didn't, after they started it initially, they didn't really make a big deal of it. Then they didn't make a lot of fanfare when they brought it out here. Then when they opened it, it was not only somebody that most of the people live didn't know who the fuck it was, but it was preposterous. And they didn't do anything. And then they were gone. So
at home, they were gone. Clearly in the building,
well,
you got to see where they went.
But not quickly enough. They didn't leave quickly enough. The point is, they announced the attendance in the building, 19,346. Boy, howdy. And then suddenly with no fanfare or announcement, and now, ladies and gentlemen, this crate that has been appearing or whatever, the crate's sitting on a stage. And there is Aldous and Pierce on either side of it with a crowbar, and they fake pry the front off, and the front falls, and there's a coffin inside the box. And then did you see Nick and Adam just looked at each other and turned and walked away like, okay, now we've done what we need to do. Let's get out of here so we don't get any on us. And then the coffin door opens and you can see through it. There's a curtain in the back and somebody's ruffling the curtain. You can see light coming through. And then here comes dancing girls. And they're all made up in vampire outfits like Danhausen. And they come, and then here comes Danhausen. And the song was saying Danhausen over and over. And I couldn't hear much of the rest of it, and I'm not sure that I wanted to, but every once in a while you'd hear Danhausen. And they go to and the people at first were just stunned, like, is there more? Is someone that we know coming out? And then it wasn't. And then it's silence. And Danhausen goes to the ring and gives Michael Cole a jar of teeth. And the people are just sitting there farting. And then they get in the ring and they do 10 seconds of like a dance routine where you're Danhausen. And then I swear to God, instead of a big pyro explosion or a bang or just a blackout or whatever, it was like it was supposed to be a rib. They just let off a puff of smoke that looked like that. Remember the time the exploding ring at AEW exploded, but it didn't explode. It just went poof. This was a poof. And then that was supposed to signify the lights were going out, and he disappears in a poof of smoke. Except the poof just happened. Then they turned the lights out, and then from all the fan cam footage, everybody in the building could see them all drop down on their bellies and roll out and hide under the ring. And I'm wondering when they got them out of there. You think it was about 2:00 in the morning?
Underground tunnel.
Now, you think the United Center put the underground tunnel in there just for Danhausen? Got the jackhammer out, and fuck the basketball court. But look, already he's selling merchandise because there are people around the world who know who Danhausen is and like the merchandise. But these people, specifically there, all 19,346 of them, most of them are just WWE fans, and they probably did not know and certainly didn't give two shits. Now, I mean, if he'd have come out and beat somebody up, that may have been, but the problem is, who the fuck's he going to beat up? Because that's what, tell me what you thought about this reveal before we go into his future projects.
Well, that's a loaded question. I think the problem is the fans had expectations, whatever they were and however unjustified they were.
They were bigger than this.
It was Chris Jericho or above. You know what I mean? Like, it had to be like that. And it shouldn't have been. And it's wrong that anyone thought it was going to be. Instead, it's someone who's probably going to be doing skits with R-Truth and El Lizard. Not El Lizard. That was the guy who used to work for Dennis. What's the name of the lizard guy? Iguana. Mr.
The
Iguana.
The Night of the Iguana.
Right. El Lizard was one of the worst workers in New Jersey back then, but that's a whole nother story. There were expectations. And I think maybe, who knows? Nick Khan had expectations that there would be more fans aware of who this wrestling character is. A lot of people pointing to Jim Cornette, saying Jim Cornette helped make him famous, playing his cameos.
Now, wait a
back in
minute.
the
How
day.
come everything's my fault?
I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out for, fair time. Point out that you're getting a lot of the blame for your guilt.
Well, now, hold on now. I've never said he wasn't a nice kid. And when we first saw him with the very nice, very evil, weird promo, we said, oh, this is a chuckle. But how does this apply to wrestling? It's kind of like Harley Cameron. And once we saw him wrestle, we kind of said, well, he shouldn't do that anymore. But he's a wonderful kid with a quirky gimmick and personality. Should he be the guy that teams up with Gwyngouli to take over when Svengoolie retires and get rid of the other two pinheads they've got on the House of Svengoolie? Maybe that
the one guy's good.
Is,
Nostalgia Ferratu also does Tune In With Me. I don't want to put him down. He
can go do that show.
He's on the right side of content.
But the thing is, you're right in that Nick Khan probably doesn't realize the extent that there is a disconnect between his fan base that purchases tickets, especially to the live events, and the niche crowd that would know the AEW talent and would know some of the international talent and is buying the merchandise. Because I would imagine they didn't sell a ton of it in Chicago, but now that everybody around the world, as we said, knows Danhausen is there, yeah, he's going to sell some merchandise. But the thing is, what can he do here? He can't wrestle here. It would be preposterous. Is he a quirky character that comes in and out and, like you said, maybe does skits with R-Truth, or does what else? But he can't. I mean, he's tiny for AEW standards, but here it looks preposterous, even more preposterous.
You've said that now several times. It's important to note the fans in Chicago. We keep talking about the fact that fans didn't know him. They booed this. They did not.
Oh, yeah, no, because it stunk. They booed like crazy.
And those were two of my thoughts. Danhausen hasn't been seen on TV in years at this point. AEW had him under contract until just recently and apparently ghosted him. And he was off TV for, better part of 2 years?
Yeah, at first he was hurt, and then he was just, they didn't bring him back.
So now you're bringing him here. My first two thoughts were, oh no. And then my second thought was, if there was a fucking Danhausen horror movie surf guitar dance party show, I'd watch it every week. I'd watch it every fucking week. But I'm dreading where this is going to go right now on WWE TV, where we need less backstage skits. You're about to get someone who I would think primarily will exist either in backstage skits or sneaking around ringside, giving out strange gifts or curses.
Well, and you mentioned earlier the thing with this young fellow is that it didn't get over in Chicago because they had expectations. And when they first did the crate, and we talked about it, could it be Jericho from the first night when Aldis and Pierce were making over it? Why, what is this? Is it yours? Is it mine? Whatever. You would think that there was going to be somebody, and that's where the expectations came from. People have already been thinking that Jericho was going to show up sooner or later, maybe later now than sooner, but that's another story. But so they thought, oh, okay, that's where that led them. And maybe the WWE wanted people to believe that. But then on the next SmackDown and on the next, as they didn't really make a big deal out of it, after that, you could tell, okay, it's something else. But why do this in this way when they could have had a coffin out there that would have been more interesting than a crate, wouldn't it? Who's in the fucking coffin? Well, but then people would have thought it was something to do with the Undertaker.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as
and
they showed the coffin,
even more disappointed.
Yeah.
So that it just, you can't do something like this unless people know who the fuck's coming out. Or, even though they knew Chainsaw Charlie was Terry Funk, when a guy comes out of a crate by a chainsaw in it, well, that makes an impression. But this, dog and pony lighting show and, David Copperfield cable access type of thing, they were just like, what the fuck is this? That's why they sat there in silence and then they booed.
Well, here's the problem. It was someone they weren't familiar with doing this. If this was a star doing it, they would have still booed. Because it still would have been, what the fuck is this? Where's it going?
Because he still didn't do anything.
Yeah, it went nowhere. And then you watched him crawl under the ring. If you were in the house, you saw them crawl under the ring. And that's why the boos got a little louder. Because they're like, they could still hear us. Boo! They're still there. I feel bad, like you said.
We can see you.
Everyone I know who knows him says he's like the nicest guy in the entire world. And I feel bad that he got booed. But this was, if you were going to do something with Danhausen, this was not the way to do it to get a good reaction.
Well, it was gobbledygooker. It was a modern gobbledygooker. And I thought they'd have learned about that one the last time.
That egg was on TV for weeks. I think at least a month, if not longer than a month.
Well, because remember you might not remember because you were only fucking 6 or whatever, but at the actual time.
10, but yes.
Okay, well, that was supposed to be Flair. Because Flair showed up about the same time, but for the smart fans, they just knew it was Flair. And that's why, again, not only did the gobbledygooker not get over with any fans that were anywhere, whether they were smart fans or not, but the smart fans just roasted it because they thought it was going to be Flair.
I was 10 years old. I didn't think it was going to be Ric Flair, but I didn't know what it would be. It had to be something. I mean, they're spending a lot of time and giving this egg the entire interview podium. It has to be something. When it was a dancing turkey, because I didn't know who Hector Guerrero was, and I didn't know that was him. I just knew that a turkey came out, and you're waiting, okay, is the turkey going to do something? Is the turkey going to demask and it's Big John Studd? Like, what's about to happen? No, he went in the ring and he did a do-si-do with Gene Okerlund. And those fans who ate up WWE shit, they booed that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a win-win. It wasn't a situation for a win for Danhausen here. And again, I don't know what they're going to do unless they're going to start doing their own content with him hosting public domain horror movies, which isn't the worst idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what. They got a whole crew of female dancers that painted their face. I mean, what? I mean, they spent time on this. They spent a lot of time putting this together. And what did they think was going to happen? And who's saying I told you so? That's the other problem. It wasn't like everyone wanted him on this show.
Well, that has been reported that there was a divided camp. Some people were in favor of bringing him into the fold, and some people were like, what? And we don't know who's on what side yet or not, but the what side got a kind of a moral victory at the start.
Do you ever wish The Rock would show up and just book everything for one night to throw everything off kilter again, just to put everything right?
No, I still don't hope that.
I'm kind of there now. Please come back. Dwayne, please come back. Please. I take it all back.
Dwayne, come back, Dwayne.
Come back. Get off the farm.
What's Brandon DeWilde doing these days? Huh? How about that? Google it, kids.
Well, again, Danhausen, a popular wrestling personality on the independent scene, got the AEW deal. They barely used him. A lot of people seem to think he was punished for who his friends were. And I guess we'll see what happens. I'm very happy for him. Very worried about the state of WWE television. But Jim.
Yes.
Some segments are, dare I say it, 5-star segments. And some segments are for the dogs.
Rough.
And whether you're talking about rough or bow wow or whatever other sounds you want, you need your dog to eat the right food. You need your dog to be the dog, all the dog that dog can be.
That's right. Be all the dog that dog can be.
And I think the only person who could tell you more about this wonderful, wonderful new sponsor of ours is Jim Cornette to tell you about Sundays for Dogs.
Well, that's right, because Sundays are a day of rest and leisure, and you want to pamper your pooch all week long so you can make every day a Sunday for your dog, because fresh, healthy food that extends and maximizes your dog's quality of life is what you are looking for. And that's why Sundays for Dogs was founded by a veterinarian and a mom, Dr. Tori Waxman. As I remember Tori from the WWF, she married Cat Collins, and Dr. Tori Waxman.
Not her.
She got tired of seeing so-called premium dog food full of fillers and synthetics and crummy ingredients and weird things that you can't pronounce. Did you know that at one point, 40% of all the dog food in Mexico was made from ground up porcupine meat? And they get some needles in there.
No, I don't know anything about this.
They export that shit all over the world. You don't want that.
You don't want that. We don't know anything about that. We should also stress that fact.
And
here.
you don't want the floor sweepings. You definitely don't want the floor sweeping. They do that. They sweep up the sawdust off the floor of the butcher shop that the poor animals have been slayed on, and then they just cram that in a bowl and feed it to your dogs. That's horrible. Well, Sundays for Dogs invest 50 times more in its ingredients than the kibble or other brands out there to ensure premium quality, nutrient-rich, clean food that fuels your poochie's happiest, healthiest days. And Brian, I told you, more news. Stace and I have made contact, and we are in the process of speaking to a breeder. So there's going to be a blessed event here at the castle sometime this year, we are hoping. And they're going to be eating, they, he, she, or it, are going to be eating the Sundays for Dogs every dadgum day of the week. And you know, Swami, the little pig that he is,
hey,
poor little fat butterball, well, you
what
let him eat a whole box of this
He's
stuff.
in great shape. He's a little skinny, tiny dog.
Oh, you told me that you quit taking him out to the dog park for his cardio because you kept getting hit on by all the soccer moms.
Why don't we talk about the food here, Jim? Of course, the dog food, Sundays.
The food here,
it's delicious. Listen.
That's right.
Yummy.
I'll tell you what, it's made in a human grade kitchen. So you've got graded humans making this food. They've been graded by Meltzer, given 5 stars. And the best part, you just scoop and serve. No freezer, no thawing, no prep, no mess. Just the good stuff. And that way your pups experience, it'll help them with more energy, better mood, more calm and focused. They'll be able to do your tax returns more quickly. They'll have a softer coat and furry little mittens, less itching, no eye boogers. And of course, better stool. And you know, Brian, I'll tell you what, sometimes, you know, she got a little runny every now and then. She had a touchy tummy. I wish we'd have known about Sundays for dogs then, but if it makes their stool better, then automatically your whole house is going to smell better.
Rug saver.
There you go. So you can just have your dog shit and save it in Tupperware.
Well,
and take a good sniff of it and then keep it back. Don't put it in the fridge. That'll mute the smell. And then have them poop after they eat Sundays for dogs and see which pile of poop don't smell better.
Why don't you just let them poop where they normally poop? Walk them outside. Walk them regularly and make sure they get it all out. And of course, Jim, what you want to get out is you want to make sure you get out of your dog exactly what goes into their stomach.
Put in it.
The energy and, of course, the furry coat. There's so much. They have noses and eyes. There's so much to love about our dogs, Jim.
Oh, that's right. Feed them Sundays for dogs. Everybody walk your dog right now, and they'll poop out in the yard, and it'll smell fresh as a daisy. Make the switch to Sundays and go right now to sundaysfordogs.com/JCE50, and you're going to get 50% off your first order. JCE50 at checkout at sundaysfordogs.com. And again, 50% off your first order, and you'll feed your little poochies premium dog food with no fillers and synthetics and various floor sweepings and porcupine innards.
That's right. To tell the truth now, instead of everything you say here, Swami has loved Sundays for Dogs, and we're sure your dog will too. Sundays for Dogs. One more time, Jim.
Yes. JCE50 is what that is.
Sundaysfordogs.com/JCE50. But Jim, let's get back to a dog of a main event. WWE Elimination Chamber in Chicago.
Do not insult our fine furry friends like that. The men's Elimination Chamber was nowhere like a nice furry puppy. It was Randy Orton against Javon Evans, against Cody Rhodes, against LA Knight, against Trick Williams, against Logan Paul. And if you have kept up with those names, you'll know that that's 4 pure baby faces. Trick Williams, who they like more than they don't like. And then Logan Paul, the biggest asshole in the place.
Hey, real quick, because you're bringing this up. Trick Williams is becoming an interesting story. He seems to be getting over incredibly well. It wasn't just here. This is happening everywhere, it seems like. More and more. They presented him as kind of a dickish heel, and the fans have taken to him as a babyface. And he looks good in there, and a lot of people who regularly watch NXT were saying that this is the kind of thing we'll see come out. And the fans seem to naturally be reacting to him.
It's the look and the outfit and the patter, his promo, the way he talks. It's interesting. It's different. He's big. He looks good. The fur coat, whatever the fuck. You're not really going to make him a heel, especially in today's environment where they kind of pick and choose their own a lot anyway, and they know, what's going on. And so that's, again, like I said about the women's match. Besides, we had the 2 regular singles matches that didn't set the world on fire because they weren't necessarily, WrestleMania main events. But then they were bookended by these 2 gimmick matches where we see people just doing shit to each other over and over because it's multiple man, everybody for themselves matches. And in this match, almost all the top baby faces are beating the shit out of each other. So you don't get except for when they're after Logan Paul, or the people don't want Logan Paul to win, whatever they do, you don't get the visceral screaming, cheering, hoping for the baby face to win because they're all baby faces. Or conversely, you don't get the heat from, I hope that motherfucker gets his because they like everybody. Except Logan Paul. So they're watching for gimmicks and bumps through the plexiglass. And that's what they did. They started with Cody and Javon. And they, did stuff to each other. But there was no real, the people weren't on the edge of their seat because they don't want Cody to beat Javon up. You noticed that several times in this match. Even when Cody was the one punching Javon or whatever, the people didn't react to it because they didn't want to see that. It almost hurts their feelings sometimes. Come on, Cody. This is why Vince Sr. never booked Bruno against Andre. I'm not making this shit up. So when Trick came in, the fans woke up, and then Javon and Trick are able to do nice stuff with each other because Trick nominally is a heel. And so you can still get into that. And Trick was impressive. But then Logan Paul comes in, and now all the baby faces that were in so far just ganged up on him and got a big pop. And they threw him through the empty pod and, kicked the shit out of him when they could. But then when LA Knight comes in, they want to see him beat up Logan Paul too, but he's fighting Cody and Trick. And even, I mentioned Vince Sr., even Vince Jr., during the Attitude Era in the 90s, when he had his talent roster, you had the talent roster was printed out every week, a new one, so that we could use it to write TVs or book cards or whatever we were doing. And he would have the baby faces on the left side in descending order. Start with like Shawn Michaels when he was the babyface on top, going down. The heels on the right side in descending order. And the fucking managers and the referees and et cetera in the middle. And if you didn't have a pretty even number of heels and baby faces, then he would insist that we go out and find a heel or a baby face or two, because elsewise the bottom guy on one side ain't gonna get booked on our shows because he don't have anybody to work with. Anyway, for that reason, you didn't want a bunch of your most popular wrestlers going out and beating each other up and splitting the fucking crowd. So then LA Knight and Javon Evans threw Logan Paul off the top of one of the pods onto Cody and Trick. And then LA Knight gave a BFT to Javon on top of the pod. So he's down for a while. And then Orton came in. And did you notice Orton did the absolute minimum that you could possibly do, but still beat everybody up?
Yes, he did.
He's the smartest one of the bunch. Boom, boom, boom. Then Javon woke up on top of the pod and splashed Trick off the top. But then Logan Paul gave Javon a big move and pinned him 1, 2, 3. And I did you see this clip on Twitter? It was going around where everybody said, look at Logan Paul, how he dropped Javon Evans right on his head. Did that look dangerous to you?
I actually did not see that going around, so I didn't know that was a thing. It didn't. I thought it looked good, but I didn't.
That's the thing is and Javon sold it, and he rolled, and the referee you could see in the background was helping him out. But I am willing to be corrected if somebody says, oh, Javon's in a hospital in traction. But a lot of people were complaining about it on Twitter, which is a good indication of how bad people hate Logan Paul, but he was not. It looked good, but I didn't think it was unprofessional or dangerous. So hopefully Javon is okay and everybody's just marks. But then it kept going. Poor LA Knight tried to do his top rope elbow and slipped. His right foot slipped off the top rope. So he landed on his feet next to Orton and then kicked him and then jumped up and dropped his elbow. And that was Orton's spot to roll out of the ring. Says he rolled out of the ring, he was laughing his ass off. The fucking LA Knight fell off.
The last time we saw those two work, wasn't it LA Knight who body slammed Orton into the ropes? And then Orton started yelling at him?
I think it was. Oh my God. That poor fellow. But LA Knight does a lot of leaping up to the top rope, either from in the ring or while he's on the ropes or whatever. And there's a high margin for error, especially when you got that many guys in the ring. If the ropes get sweaty, you're fucking slicker than whale shit in an ice flow. But anyway, at that point, Logan Paul gave LA Knight a ball shot and beat him 1, 2, 3. And then it was down to Trick and Cody and Logan Paul. Cody gave Trick the crossroads, but Logan Paul ran Cody into the post and then pinned Trick 1, 2, 3. But then here we go. The Masked Man ran out and started climbing the cage, and security runs out and pulls him down and pops the hood off of him, and it's another nobody. And so they're taking him out, and the referees are helping Trick, who's been eliminated, out of the cage door. And when they take Trick out, another masked man comes into the cage. And he kicks Logan Paul and gives him the stomp. And Cody covers Logan Paul. Boom, 1, 2, 3. And then the masked man pops the hood, and it's Seth Rollins. And now the place goes ballistic because now they've seen their moment. Of course, there's still a goddamn match going on, and this completely been derailed again, but it's the way things go these days.
Rollins. Was he under the ring with Danhausen?
Well, are you insinuating there's some kind of relationship there?
Are you insinuating it by asking me if I'm insinuating it?
Well, no, if they're under the ring or behind the dumpster, or what are you
behind the dumpster
insinuating from these people?
I just mean that's like the hideout. Everyone get under the ring. Dancers and Danhausen and Rollins.
We started in the 90s putting a monitor and a fucking cooler under there for guys that had to stay under the ring. Because when Tommy Rich did it in Memphis in 1987, he just had a 12-pack of beer and a bucket to piss in. But anyway, so boom, boom, boom. Heyman has a stroke at this reveal. Seth Rollins is back. Of course, he did the stomp. He's been injured with a shoulder injury, so it's still a ways to WrestleMania. I don't know if he's cleared to do a trapeze act, but he could do the stomp.
Heyman was a bit over the top here. You didn't even see him. You just heard him. Oh, my God!
Yeah.
Oh, my God! All right, enough, Paul. Come on.
They did get one camera shot of his face, and his eyes bugged out, and he did the Alfred Hitchcock puff up of like a blowfish of his, neck jowls. But then that was great. But then when you hear that, like you said, the high pitched stuff, he was all over the place. So then Seth left, and the match started again. Now Cody and Randy face off. And as soon as they face off, Drew comes out and just gets in and hits Cody with the belt. But then Cody and Drew start fighting. And then Orton lays back, and when Drew turns around, Orton gives Drew an RKO. He bounces up into Cody's crossroads. And then as Cody stands up, Orton RKO's Cody and pins him 1, 2, 3. So, besides the fact that, again, an unknown person came in and just brought everything to a halt, and then they get started again, and then another guy just comes in the match and starts beating people up in front of the referee, but it is no disqualification. But another step towards Cody versus Orton, because Orton snapped and took advantage of it. And then Cody was sitting out on the outside, dejected and like, I can't believe it. And Orton was looking like, well, I had to do it. And there again, whenever they pull the trigger on that, and it looks like it may be closer now than it has been, they've got all this stuff to go back. Every time Orton's pledged his loyalty, but at the same time, you always knew he was a snake or a viper and a blah, blah, just all the little thing. It's going to be a hell of a package. But boom, Orton, which nobody was expecting, I don't think, because they've changed all their goddamn plans. But now, it's going to be Orton and Drew, right? Which then...
Oh, because they announced for SmackDown this Friday, it's Cody against Drew for the title.
Ah,
I mean, who knows
Well,
what'll
that-
happen, but the fact that they announced it right away made me think, oh, something may happen.
well, or we may get another three-way. And Jacob is still running around feeling unfulfilled.
We may get another 4-way.
How many? Just put everybody in there. Just start out with 100 of them. See how long it takes one's left. But again, so Orton was not the favorite, but it makes sense with, I guess, with their revamped plans for WrestleMania, which will become all the more clear over the next few weeks. And this was an elimination chamber, and it was, except for the big moment at the end, it was what it was.
Profound words from someone who knows what they're talking about. What a event.
From a profound guy.
You know, it always comes down to it's about the big moments. And at least it was a little different here with this match because I don't think anyone said that they thought Randy Orton was going to win. So it was a surprise there. And you want to talk about someone who's just kind of been around for a little while since he returned, Randy Orton's not doing anything. And he could be. And if you were ever going to do anything, kind of now's the time, I would think. He's not any younger. How many years younger?
He's not ready to be put out to fucking pasture
You
yet.
know what I'm saying. He's had a lot of injuries, had a lot of back issues. If you're going to give him a good run right now as a heel or a face, right now's the time.
But my God, he looks like a fucking $1 million, dirty, green, and wrinkled. But besides that, Orton's the kind of guy he's a made guy. You don't need to have him in something all the time because just when he shows up, he lends some gravitas to the occasion. And now this is the start of putting him in a big thing. And that's using him sparingly, but only in major moments or big programs. I think at this stage of the game is the best way to do it. But he's still, because what we had him when he was 19, so is he 45 now? I think. In today's generation, that's not that old, as we've proven with our look at people in their 20s and 30s.
Well, there it is, the Elimination Chamber event. And what an event it was. Jim, on the topic of WWE, some news coming out today as we are recording. The Undertaker, who now just is full of good news and almost like a Publishers Clearinghouse guy with a giant check. But he announced that Demolition, Axe and Smash will be going into the WWE Hall of Fame. Any thoughts?
Undertaker was the dead man, the living incarnation of death. And he was the Grim Reaper, and now he goes around, like he says, spreading good news, and he's Ed McMahon knocking on people's front door. Demolition is kind of a no-brainer considering who they've inducted from their era into the Hall of Fame over the past several years. Demolition was bigger than a lot of the names they put in, and I guess there was the holdup, at least in part, was that Bill Eadie had sued Vince quite some time back.
Oh, that was the holdup for everything. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But now I get TKO. They don't give a shit. He didn't sue them. And they're running low on major attractions from that era they haven't already put in. So I would think that a Demolition spot in their tag team roster, they would have been in years ago, if not for the lawsuit. And now it's just overdue. But there you go. I have no. Well, now here's the thing. How many members? It's like when the fucking giant band that's had 40 million members goes in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Is it just everybody that shows up, or are they going to mention? They're going to mention everybody.
I'm sure they'll mention Crush, and that's where that will end. It'll be Axe and Smash because after Bill Eadie and WWE had their falling out, he didn't retire. He was Axis the Demolisher in GWF. And then there was the new Demolition on the Indies in the Northeast.
Yeah, but
do you remember Demolition Blast?
No, I don't.
This giant fat guy, and he wore like the cheapest like wannabe Demolition shoulder pad. It did not work.
But what about Randy Colley? Is Randy Colley going to get to come in?
Well, he's the original Smash. And then he became Detroit Demolition.
That doesn't necessarily mean anything. The question is, are they going to give him a call? So there are a few auxiliary Demolition members, but I'm especially happy for Bill Eadie's a nice guy, a gentleman, and Barry Darsow, tremendous guy. He was one of the nicest guys in the Mid-South locker room in '84 when we first got there. He was just starting at the time himself. And then, we worked together in Crockett, and, just a really good guy. So I'm happy for them that they're getting that especially.
It's amazing to go back to look at '83 footage of Barry Darsow coming into Mid-South Wrestling as the lumberjack wearing Daisy Dukes and think, this guy won't just be a good worker, but he'll also find a way to get over in a bunch of different roles.
Yeah.
You go watch any of the matches, his commitment to the role of Repo Man is something to really admire. And then the Blacktop Bully, there were always these cool ideas that were nothing like, Repo Man didn't stand the same way that Demolition Smash did. There were little differences like that. He was always hunched over. Just a little thing to make you think it's not Smash.
A little sneaky, a little creepy.
Yeah.
But Darsow as Crusher Darsow in Louisiana was a great, I would consider that his rookie year. He was a great fucking prospect, could learn to work quickly. And then as Crusher Khrushchev, he was on top in the most talent-filled fucking territory in the NWA, the Carolinas, when he'd only been in the business 3 years. And in that bad knee injury, but he came back and had that incredible run as Demolition. So while some of the other gimmicks may have been entertaining, but not potentially career makers, he was a tremendous talent when he was still very young in the business. And for that size, I still remember, I don't know how it came up, but we were in the Shreveport locker room, the Irish McNeil Boys Club, at a TV taping one time. And I, again, don't remember how it came up, but he said, "Oh, you could slam me." Because we were talking about this spot in a match, whatever the fuck. I said, "I couldn't fucking pick you up." Because he was 280 at the time. He said, "I bet you." He said, "I'll go up." And I didn't slam him in the locker room, but he said, "Try it." I thought, well, don't fucking fall on me. I got him up. And it wasn't because I was so strong. He went up so well. I got him up to the full slam position and held him for 1 second and then let him down, obviously. But I was like, fuck, how are you? He was so nimble for his size. It was amazing.
Well, again, 2 years of dominating the WWE tag team division when there were still lots of great tag teams, 3-time tag team champions, no brainer. Axe and Smash, Demolition. Jim, we've gone a long time today, and unfortunately, we're not going to go too much longer, but we will end with some WWE trivia.
Oh, good Lord.
Let me get
from
this
the
out.
Same game.
This is from the 1997 World Wrestling Federation Express Wrestling Trivia game. 800 questions, so we have a long way to go. Ages 8 and up.
Let me say, ages 8
and up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, ages 8 and up. I was fucking 60-something. I couldn't answer half the questions. The other day, I took all kinds of shit on the internet because when you asked me the original set, I was there in the building for some of these shows, and I didn't remember. People were saying, fucking Cornette can play Guess the Program and deduce a card in Des Moines from 1952 by the opening match, but he doesn't remember the shit he was actually there for. I had a lot going on at that time, and I wasn't really motivated, to be honest with you. But also, to compound things, as you yourself found out, some of the answers to their questions in their own game are wrong. So you're trying to make me look bad here, mister.
I would never try. But Jim, these questions here I have, again, there are 5 questions per card. Let's see how you do. At the February 1996 In Your House
Ah.
Who was Duke Drosy's opponent?
Oh, God damn it.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Henry O'Godwin, or the 1-2-3 Kid?
Give me the choices again.
Duke Drosy's opponent in your house, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Henry O'Godwin, or the 1-2-3 Kid?
Oh, well, trick question. Possibly, because 1-2-3 Kid, was he there at that point? Had he come in yet?
Oh no, he was there. He was still.
He was there, but then he was gone during that period, right? And then he came back.
Early
Maybe
1996. I don't know if he was around at that moment. I don't.
Well,
know.
whatever. Triple H.
That is correct. Hunter Hearst Helmsley. All
yes,
right.
because he was the goddamn heel. And also, the February 1996 pay-per-view was at the Louisville Gardens. That's why I remember that. That's where me and Clarence Mason had the promo with Piper.
You know, I just saw that footage. It was going around the other day. What do you remember about that? Because the comments I read were something like, look at Cornette and Piper go out there to fill up time and just kill it. What do you remember about that? What was the whole objective?
We killed it, but we weren't supposed to be filling time, and that's why Bruce got mad. But the only thing that I remember is that Piper was supposed to say something, and I was going to talk until he said that thing. And Piper changed and didn't say whatever he was going to say, and we went longer than we were supposed to. So when we got back, apparently Michaels had been pitching a fit because he was going to go out for the next match. And Bruce is like, Jesus Christ, can you all go any further? I said, talk to fucking Roddy. I said, I was waiting to hear what I was supposed to hear. Talk to Roddy. When Roddy comes back, Bruce says, hey, great, Hot Rod. I thought so. Because he had to yell at somebody because Michaels was standing there glowering because he was only going to get to go 22 minutes instead of 24 that night. But besides me getting an opportunity to do a promo face-to-face spitting on each other with Piper, that was in my hometown. That was my childhood dream come true.
And it's a hell of a job you do out there. I have the audio, so let's play this. This is from In Your House. This is Jim Cornette and Clarence Mason confronting Roddy Piper, President Roddy Piper, I believe at this time, on the interview podium in front of all the fans. Let's go to this.
Let me tell you one thing right now. Shut up!
Whoa. Whoa. That's Clarence Mason. You'll get sued.
When you come up here with me, mister, first thing you do is have a lot of respect. Now, I ain't finished. You, tell me something. When you were a little kid, is that a tennis racket or a banjo? Does da-dun-dun-dun mean anything to you, huh? Did you used to sit on a porch and play the banjo? Is that how you got Vader, huh? Let me explain something to you, Hot Rod.
All right, let me stop before you get going because he's already put his hand over Clarence Mason's mouth before he had a chance to talk.
Yes.
And now he's just yelling at you. And again, this is the first time he's really just gone at it with you ever on camera. Any early thoughts?
Well, and again, there was some point that he was going to make, and we had briefly gone over this because you didn't go word for word ahead of time with Piper, right? Because he didn't know what he was going to say. And I got the train of it, but I don't have word for word until I actually do it. So we had just had like a couple minute conversation about this and that. And again, maybe when I hear it and listen to it again, I'll remember what I was waiting on, but it took a while to get the point out of Piper if we got it or whatever, but it was fun doing it.
You come out here and make all the statements you want that they got a time with a calendar instead of a stopwatch, and you're a real funny guy. But I remember Hot Rod used to come out with a shirt on him said no fear. And I remember Hot Rod used to come out and say he wasn't scared of nothing that ever happened to him because he'd been through it all. You were on the streets when you were a kid and nobody could scare you. You betcha. But there was one man that did. He scared you and he scared the World Wrestling Federation, and he scared everybody out there, and he scared every wrestler that stepped in that ring, and that was Vader.
Wait.
So what did Vader do? He scared everybody. So what did the WWF do? You tried to banish him. You tried to exile him, send him away. He too hot. We can't touch him. He was Hot Vader, not Hot Rod. But thanks to this man, Vader is back. So now you're sending a 640-pound man. And you think that he's going to take Vader out? Well, I got news for you. WrestleMania 12, Anaheim, California. What's going to happen to Yokozuna and the rest of the World Wrestling Federation?
Whoa.
It's on your head, Hot Rod.
Have you ever thought of anything? However, think about this for a second. You had Yokozuna. You're one great manager. You had him, correct?
That's right.
Now you have Vader, correct?
That's right.
Yokozuna is 640 pounds. To me, that's about 320 pounds per cheek. Do you know what? In WrestleMania 12 at Anaheim, if Vader loses, you might find yourself cheek to cheek with Yokozuna.
Are you gonna?
Well, there's only one Hot Rod.
Bottom line is, buddy, you're going to be out of a job, and at WrestleMania, we're going to see people that are going to fight.
All right, and he also
And by the way, when he said cheek to cheek with Yokozuna, he grabbed me up the ass.
Yeah, he goosed you there.
Yes.
Well, there it is.
But that and he had been talking for, that's what it was. He'd been doing a promo for a while. I wasn't supposed to come out until he had said a certain thing. And that's why he'd been out there talking for a while already. And then when I came out there, I was trying to get all that out as quick as I could because I know we were burning daylight. And fucking Roddy didn't get in a hurry about anything. And that's when we came back, Bruce is like, wow, Sean's upset. Well, fuck you. I just did a promo with Piper.
That is the correct answer. Jim, back to the trivia. 1994 SummerSlam, who was Diesel's opponent? Mabel?
Oh, good Lord.
British Bulldog? Or Razor Ramon?
It was Razor, wasn't it?
It was indeed Razor Ramon. Good job there.
And you know, I remember that, and I wasn't on the 1994 SummerSlam. And I remember that for some reason.
Jim, at the 1989 Survivor Series, the tag team scheduled to be on Andre the Giant's team was the Orient Express, the Rougeau Brothers, or the Brainbusters.
Then it was the Brainbusters, wasn't it?
3 for 3 today. Look at you.
There you go. Well, because it made sense because Bobby was with Andre and Bobby as a heel, and Bobby was with Tully and Arn.
At WrestleMania 11, Razor Ramon battled. You fill in the blank.
11 was 1995, and that was, my God, I'm lost.
JEFFJARRETT, Jeff Jarrett. Final question on this card, question 5. I guess this is the hardest one. At the 1992 Survivor Series, High Energy's opponents were who?
Okay. High Energy was Owen Hart and Coco Ware in the baggy parachute pants and checkerboard square outfits. It had to be probably an underneath team. Was that the era of the Beverly Brothers?
It's a good guess. It's just after that. It's the Head Shrinkers. The Head Shrinkers. Jim, the next card here. At the February 1996 In Your House.
Again.
Who was Yokozuna's opponent? British Bulldog, Vader, or Owen Hart?
Well, it wasn't Vader because we were building that in that promo that we just did in the building that night. Was it Bulldog? I think it was Bulldog, wasn't it?
It was indeed the British Bulldog.
That's right. Okay.
This one's a hard one, Jim. At the 1994 SummerSlam, who was Razor's opponent? Bret Hart, Mabel, or Diesel?
um, uh, Diesel.
Yeah, that's right. We just did this on the other card.
Well, okay. That's why I've lost.
At the 1989 Survivor Series, the tag team on Ted DiBiase's team was the Orient Express, the Powers of Pain, or Demolition.
That was Demolition, wasn't it?
The Powers of Pain.
Son of a bitch.
Demolition,
Well, I wasn't even there.
Demolition were baby faces at that point. They were on Hulk Hogan's team with Jake Roberts. At WrestleMania 11, The Undertaker faced who?
Again, that was 1995. Was that Mabel?
No, it may have been the worst.
No.
It may have been the worst Undertaker WrestleMania match. Although, you know, the Giant Gonzalez one's out there. King Kong Bundy.
Oh, Bundy, that's right. I'm sorry, I forgot.
And I don't know how this works with the game, but it says Celebrity of the Week at the bottom. Like in a different box, Bobo Brazil. All right, we'll figure out what that means at some point.
What week?
I don't know. At February 96 in your house, who was British?
I can give you a lot more details on Bobo Brazil than I can on these fucking fakakta matches.
I'm going to move forward with these questions because the next card is asking the exact same questions like the other way, asking me the opponents. At WrestleMania 11, Bret Hart faced who?
Jesus Christ. Well, wait. Was that Michaels also? Didn't they do 2 years in a row?
Bob Backlund.
No, that's right. It was Backlund.
Bob Backlund.
Was it 2 WrestleManias? Okay.
Jim, at the February 1996 In Your House, I skipped halfway down this, and this is the next question.
I swear to Christ.
Diesel,
well, at least I was there.
Diesel's opponent was Undertaker, Bret Hart, or British Bulldog?
Well, we just said Bulldog worked with Yoko, and did Diesel work with it was the other guy. I'm confused.
It was Bret Hart.
Bret Hart. There we go.
Bret Hart got Diesel's best matches out of him, I think.
Bret Hart worked with himself also.
At the February 1996 In Your House. God damn it. Why does it keep going back to this? It's the first question on the next card, the next card. The next card. All right, this one's a different question. Jim, at the May 1995 In Your House, what was the main event? Diesel versus Shawn, Sid versus Undertaker, or Diesel versus Sid?
Sid wasn't here at that time, was he? Was that before he left and before he came back?
I'm not allowed to answer.
You're not allowed to answer. The first choice.
Diesel versus Shawn? No, the answer is Diesel versus Sid.
Okay.
At the 1994 Royal Rumble, the accomplice of Yokozuna who locked the casket was who? Now, you were involved in this, so there's no excuse for you not to get it.
Okay, and this, again, it was the casket match with Yoko and The Undertaker, right? Where afterwards The Undertaker was taking time off, so he fucking put him, all the heels on the card came out and just kicked the shit out of him right in front of the referee, because no DQ, and put him in the coffin and locked the lid, and then he was on the screen ascending, and they raised a dummy of The Undertaker up to heaven like he was ascending to heaven, and he was gone for like 9 months or whatever. So the question is, who was the one who actually locked the lid when me and Fuji and every other heel on the card were at ringside?
Yeah, Tenryu, the Great Kabuki. It was a whole crew.
every heel that was there. And I was embarrassed by that, not only by all the heels coming out and just doing all that in front of the referee, but then by the fakery of The Undertaker being in the fucking coffin, but then suddenly being raised to heaven. And I just kind of hung out by the ring post so nobody would notice me. I can't remember who the person to put the latch on the deal was. There was 15 of us.
The answer's Crush.
Well, there you go.
Crush. At the 1992 Survivor Series, Razor Ramon's partner was who?
That was Ric Flair.
Ric Flair. Very good. Ric Flair.
I remember that one.
Jim, at WrestleMania 2, Randy Savage defended the Intercontinental Championship against who?
Refrigerator Perry. Now, he was in the Battle Royal. We're not talking about him. God damn. Would that have been Piper?
It would have been George, the Animal.
Ah, the Animal Steel.
Steel. That's right, Jim. At the September 9th, a few more questions. At the September 1995 in your house.
I'm doing so well.
At the September 95 in your house, who introduced Dean Douglas? Mr. Perfect, Bob Backlund, or Ted DiBiase? For the record, I actually don't remember that.
Well, there's something in me that wants to say Kurt Hennig had something to do with it, but it sounds more because Dean Douglas was a school teacher, like something that Backlund would have been involved in.
The answer is Bob Backlund.
There you go.
Bob Backlund.
Just to make sure, even further sure Shane didn't get over.
Jim, WrestleMania 1, Ricky Steamboat battled who?
Not 3. But
WrestleMania 1, the original WrestleMania.
Good gosh. That would have been George Bunk Harris.
Matt Bourne. Matt Bourne. Jim, WrestleMania 4 Battle Royal. The tag teams involved were the Hart Foundation, the Rougeau Brothers, the Killer Bees, and who? Either the Bolsheviks, the Young Stallions, or Money Inc.
What year was that, you say?
It was WrestleMania 4. That's 1988.
Money Inc.
Did not get together until 1992, but we're talking about the Young Stallions. The Young Stallions.
Who was that? Roma and
Jim Powers.
Powers, that's right.
And Jimmy Hart wrote a song for them, and it was a pretty good theme song for like a young, energetic tag team. And then after their push died, they just gave it to anyone who they wanted to get a pop coming out for the first time. They came out to that song. All right, one final question, Jim. 93 SummerSlam, Marty Jannetty's opponent was who? Mantar, Giant Gonzalez, or Ludwig Borga?
Okay, it wasn't Mantar because he wasn't around at that point. That was my first SummerSlam. 93 was at the Palace at Auburn Hills. It was the Bodies against the Steiner brothers. It was Yoko and Luger. I'm going to say Borga.
And we end on a positive note, other than talking about an awful human being. But on a positive note, you get the question right. Ludwig Borga was the answer.
And we're positive he was an asshole.
And this has been WWE Trivia from 1997. And with that, the drive-thru is closed. Close enough. We'll be back on the experience in a few days. And of course, next week back here on the drive-thru, go through the archive, patreon.com/Cornette. $5 a month going back to 2013. Check out that archive. Patreon.com/Cornette, the official Jim Cornette YouTube channel, full episodes, clips of the episodes, omnibus collections, that George Laurinaitis artwork, and of course the guest artwork from Freeman. Check it out today. The official Jim Cornette YouTube channel. Just go and put Jim Cornette. It'll come right up, just like it will at Cornette's Collectibles.
Just go and put me and it'll come up.
Cornette's Collectibles at JimCornette.com. What's going on, Jim?
Rewind this program to the start. We already told you. You missed it. JimCornette.com.
At JimCornette.com. The drive-thru is brought to you by the loves of Stephen P. New, 877-50-STEVE. Get even with Stephen at newlawoffice.com. But until the experience in a few days and next week back here on the drive-thru, for Jim Cornette, I'm the great Brian Last. Tally-ho!